You'll find a Mets fan. Let's go. This is a Mets year for all your Mets here. Let's go. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home
exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
Fans, welcome back to Talking Mets at Rob and another live stream here. Mets versus Nationals. Home sweet home is the theme of this channel. And this day today, the Mets are finally back home on the East Coast after a very, very, very long road trip. 10-game road trip to be exact. 7-3 on that road trip. And now they are back home to face a few NL East rivals. And they're going to start with a 3-game set against the Washington Nationals. And then the Braves series, 4 games against the Braves with a 7-game homestand before the Mets head out to Detroit to play the Tigers in about a week from now. So here we are, ready, Mets Nationals. It's going to be nice to see Citi Field for a very, very long time. It's nice to see that. Old friend Dominic Smith is back in New York as a Washington National, playing first base, batting 6th in the lineup, still struggling this year. Maybe seeing blue and orange might get him hot, right? That seems like the theme with every former Met that faces the Mets, but let's hope that Jose Butto, who is on the mound today, if you didn't notice that, the Mets had a TBD basically until like 3 o'clock today, 3:30 today, and then they finally made the move with Uceta going on the IL, and Jose Butto coming up, because Jose Butto couldn't come up yet unless there was another injury. So, the phantom IL stint with Uceta gets Jose Butto back on the 26-man roster, and now Jose Butto will be starting tonight. And the Mets have an opportunity here to face a bad Nationals team coming back home in front of their fans. We talked about this yesterday with me and Hayden about what would you be happy with, and what would you be ecstatic about? Being happy is 2 out of 3. A big disappointment is less than 2 games in this 3-game set. And obviously, ecstatic is being a sweep, which would be very nice going into the Braves series. But being happy, 2 out of 3 is something that you just keep on taking series. And if you win if you win the majority of your series, you're on the road to 90 plus wins. So that's where the Mets are right now. They lost one series so far, and obviously they tied one with the Giants. So the Mets are going similar to what they did last year, even though they didn't lose a series until June. They're still on a good track, and they're not too far. They're only, a game away from the Braves, game and a half. So I know it's early to talk about division, but, you always start to look, especially when you're going to be playing that team at the end, in a few days to finish up April. And that's something that you have to look at. Even though it's early, it's still a barometer of where our team is, because the Braves, basically the NL East, you see the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets all have a ton of injuries, yet the Braves and the Mets seem like they still have overcome those injuries. The Phillies are slowly creeping up, but they're not just there yet. But I do think that it's going to be a test for both teams that the Braves are coming into town for a 4-game set. It's a very odd 4-game series. It's from Friday to Monday. Very odd. It's usually you see those Friday to Mondays later in the year. But this year is already with the balanced schedule. The Mets are already a 10-game West Coast trip, 17 games on the road in the first month of the season. Just so many weird things are happening with this schedule. But the good news is the Mets are 14-9 in the first 23 games of the season. This is game 24 of the season. And we want to continue, because in the next about 2 to 3 weeks, as of today, the Mets are facing only one team over 500. Again, that can change if there might be a game or two under 500. But in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the Mets are not facing a team over 500 for about 2 weeks, except the Braves. So the Mets have a prime opportunity here to pad that win total, and get where they need to go, and then when they get to Cleveland and Tampa, when these games are at home. Those are the teams that you really got to focus on and win on, but you also got to make sure you do your job, and that is beating the bad teams. And let's be honest, the Mets have been doing their job against bad teams so far. They have not lost a series against a bad team, and the Giants, I consider them probably a mid-level bad team, like middle of the pack type of bad team, and the Mets split them. So the Mets, what you do, and the Braves have been kings of this over the last couple of years. They've struggled against teams over 500. They're doing it again this year. Struggling against teams against 500 and destroying bad teams. And that seems like it's a success. And that's how you win a lot of games, and that's how you win your division. You got to beat the bad teams. The teams you are supposed to beat, you must beat. I'm not saying you have to sweep every series. Occasionally you're going to have a hiccup and lose 2 out of 3 against a bad team. It happens. But focus in on taking a series against a bad team and the occasional sweep. So that's what the Mets have to do. Sometimes you have to look at the Braves and see what they did last year specifically, that they were well over 500 against bad teams, and they were basically a few games over 500 against good teams, teams over 500 for almost the majority of the year until September. That's when they started to pick up wins against good teams, which, give them credit. But that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to kill bad teams and not even have, worry about anything when it comes to bad teams, because you're supposed to beat those teams. And then when it gets to the good teams, if you hover around 500 against good teams or teams over 500, all those wins against bad teams basically pad your win total. And that's something that the Mets have to do better. They did it for the majority of the year, but when they really needed to bear down in September, they couldn't do it. They, got swept by the Cubs, losing series. You can't do that against bad teams. It's going to put you behind the 8 ball, and it did last year. And so far, so good with the Mets. The Mets are beating up on the bad teams. It's not always pretty, but it doesn't have to be, right? I can show you. What was Game 4 win that the Mets had? Did you care how they won it, or did you know that they won that game? That's all you should be caring about. So that is where we have to focus in on, because your own team there's a team in your division that destroys bad teams and hovers around 500 against teams over 500, and that's something that the Mets kind of reversed in September. They had no problem beating the good teams, but when it came to the bad teams, when they should have had a problem and paired those win totals, it could have made all the difference in the world. And that's something that that's why when people are like, oh, look who they're beating. Look, oh, they're supposed to beat the Oakland Athletics. Absolutely. But you have to beat those teams, because when you're in August and September, you don't want those Oakland series and those Marlins series and the Washington series and name another bad team, the Tigers, the Royals, all those teams that you're going to be facing this year. You don't want to go back to say, well, if they would have took 2 out of 3 instead of losing 2 out of 3 against that bad team, maybe you can lose 2 out of 3 against a really good team. That is the difference. And now that there's only 13 games in your division against each team, division games are going to matter a hell of a lot more now, because you play them less and tiebreakers come into effect. We saw that with the Mets last year, right? You don't want to have a tiebreaker decide your fate of either a division or a wild card, because winning 101 games really does suck, and you don't even win your division. Again, that just shows how good the Braves were too. But at the same time, look at around the league, right? There was like most of the divisions that you could have went into, you would have won a division. And it just happens that, look at the Dodgers. The Giants won one more game in there. What was it, 108? And the Dodgers won 107, and the Dodgers were a wild card team. Sucks, but it is. And unfortunately, the Mets have to take advantage of bad teams. And tonight starts a night and a series against bad teams at home. Excuse me. So I know a lot of people talking about Vientos. Yeah, Mark Vientos was out. He wasn't in the lineup, or was taken out of the lineup about a day or two ago, and people thought that he was going to get called up. I don't see the move where they're going to call him up, because Tommy Pham has been good, and Vogelback has come on a little bit, and I don't see them bringing up Vientos and getting rid of Vogelback. That doesn't really seem to make sense. But I mean, you're looking around the roster. Where are they going to go to put Vientos in? So I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know if it's like paternity leave or something like that. I don't think so. I think you would have heard something. But if the Mets think that they think they want Vientos out, then they're going to make a move, and we'll just have to wait and see. Me and Grant were talking about this about 2 days ago, or was it yesterday, that, I wonder, Sunday, we were talking about Vientos not being in the lineup. And then yesterday, the Mets were off. So usually you don't hear about call-ups or send-downs when your team is off, because really nobody's in the office. So you just wait until the day that they play a game. And as you've seen, Uceta goes to IL, Buto comes up. So it is interesting to see if Vientos, I don't know if he's going to be trade bait, but that is a possibility. You never know. Maybe the Mets are looking for maybe a middle-of-the-road starter that, might not be great, but could be, a solid number 4. I don't think that maybe David Peterson is going to be sent down, and Jose Buto is going to be in the rotation. It might be something like that. And, Verlander's coming back within a week. So, and Scherzer will be back by the end of the Braves series. So you're getting 2 pitchers back within a week. So that is something that you have to look at as well. So with that said, guys, we've got about 10 minutes until game time. So we are going to check the Mets lineup for tonight, and I think people will be pretty happy with the lineup. And we're going to look at it. It's going to be scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. Appreciate everybody tuning in today on this Tuesday, game 24 of the season, April 25th. We are almost a month. We're almost a month. Well, basically, we are a month into the season almost. And baseball is running on all cylinders now. We are getting really into baseball season now. Playoff hockey, playoff basketball. There's so much going on. Rodgers getting traded to the Jets. NFL draft this Friday. So much going on, specifically in New York with the playoff hockey and basketball teams. And now you got baseball in full swing now. So there's so much to talk about, so much to do. But we are here for Mets baseball. So the bottom of your screen is scrolling the Mets lineup and the pitcher matchup for tonight. So the pitcher matchup for tonight is Josiah Gray for the Nationals and, again, Jose Butto for the Mets, his second start of the season for the Metropolitans. And with that said, the Mets lineup for tonight is a lineup that I think people will be somewhat happy with. I'm going to critique it a little bit because I don't like 8 and 9, but we'll get there in just a second. So once again, pitching matchup, Josiah Gray for the Nationals and Mets, Jose Butto. So leading off, of course, playing center field, Brandon Nimmo. Batting second, Starler Marte playing right field, batting second. Batting third, Francisco Lindor playing shortstop. Pete Alonso cleaning up, playing first base. Jeff McNeil batting fifth, playing left field. Daniel Vogelbach DH batting sixth. Brett Beatty batting seventh, playing third base. Luis Guillorme batting eighth, playing second base. And Francisco Alvarez finishing up the lineup, batting ninth and catching. Little critique. I don't like Alvarez batting ninth. I just don't understand that at all. Like, if you want to keep him at the bottom of the lineup, put him in behind Beatty. Let them go 7-8. And Luis Guillorme is a guy that, is not a great hitter, but works the counts, puts the bat on the ball, tries to get walks. That's a guy that I would like to see ninth when he's in the lineup, because he can turn over that lineup in an inning where it might not be threatening at all. Guillermo gets on, you get the top of the order back up with the hot Brandon Nimmo, and that's something that I don't understand. Alvarez at the moment is a strikeout guy, and putting him in the 9 hole, you're not turning over that lineup in that same inning. But again, weird things can happen. Again, Alvarez did a home run against the Giants. Nice to see him show a little bit of power. He's been getting a little bit better every game. But if you notice, when it came to Francisco Alvarez at every level of the minor leagues, he always started slow at that next level, and then he really picked it up. So let's hope that it's going to go the same way in the major leagues, starting slow and then starts to pick up. Because if Alvarez starts to, I'm not saying he has to, put up Mike Piazza power numbers, but if he shows a little bit more power, that can only help that Mets lineup. And that is something that the Mets are, in the top of the league in runs scored. So runs scored aren't really the issue. It's more of like, can the starting pitching actually, pitch well and give the Mets a chance, or the lineup and the offense a chance? It gets very annoying that this offense always has to seem to come back from their pitching mistakes. The bullpen has been good, and the starting pitching, I think, is close to a 5 ERA, while the bullpen is around 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, around that area. And that's something that, you can't have almost a 2-run difference when it comes to your starters and your bullpen. And something that was reversed last year, the bullpen wasn't terrible, but it wasn't very good like it is now. And the starting pitching was like carrying the bullpen. So that is something that we need the starters. Again, one starter this year, and Joey Lucchesi has gone past the 6th inning. You need a little bit more length. Again, Jose Butto, I don't know if he's going to give us length, but it would be nice to see somebody give us a little bit of length, because I know I talked about the bullpen was going to be used a lot in April, but I was not expecting injuries like this. I was expecting, hey, let's not push Verlander or Scherzer or Senga, who, you want to keep strong into August and September. But unfortunately, the Mets have a lot of injuries, and we used our bullpen anyway in a different sort of way. So we are waiting for the game to start. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes until game time. They're showing the Mets earlier today batting practice and all that stuff, which is always weird. And something I got to talk about when it comes to like opening the gates about what is it, 2 hours before game time, or hour and a half until game time. You don't get to see batting practice of your home team anymore. You only get to see almost the end of the away team, which is kind of annoying, because I remember as a kid walking into Shea Stadium, getting to see the Mets batting practice. That used to be fun. I don't know why they don't do that no more. They probably don't want to pay the workers to come in an extra 45 minutes earlier or an hour earlier. But that seems like it's around baseball now, because I've been around the league, a lot of stadiums, and you don't see the home team batting practice as long as you get early access into the stadium with season ticket holders, or you got a special ticket that makes you get early access. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to the channel. And Mets versus Nationals about to start a little while, and we're just waiting until the game starts. Once again, Dom Smith is back at Citi Field for the first time wearing a Nationals uniform, batting 6th in the lineup today and playing first base. Yes, Budo tonight. Maybe, Todd, maybe. Because remember, Budo, you see, it's hard to really figure out what the hell is going on anymore with Lucchesi. Lucchesi technically took Carrasco's start and Budo took Scherzer's start. So there's a possibility that Budo might have to pitch. Let me see. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, Budo is probably not going to start against the Braves because Scherzer is eligible to come back the last game of the Braves series, and that's when Budo was supposed to pitch. So that's going to be a swap there. So that is something that you don't really have to worry again, unless Scherzer should be fine. There ain't no issues with his health or anything like that. Just suspended. So they're showing Nimmo and McNeil saying what up to Dom Smith, and when the commercial comes back, Mets and Nationals. Let me just check the comments, guys, see if I missed. Well, Ken, you know what? Everybody got their wish, right? Everybody wanted Beatty to play and Escobar not play at all, right? Warming the benches, basically. And listen, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. You want to spot start Escobar here and there? Maybe there's a tough lefty on the mound that you don't want Beatty facing, or you think it's going to be a tough matchup. Put Escobar, who, right-handed is a hell of a lot better than left-handed. So maybe you hit lightning in a bottle in that game. I have no problem with that. When it comes to Beatty playing every day, right? We talked about this, right? You're slowly seeing Alvarez getting more starts here other than Nito. And, I think Buck, look, we killed Buck for not playing these guys almost every day, but there is a method to his madness with this stuff. And, he was just gradually slowly putting him into the mix here and there. And then nobody's really not even talking about it anymore that, Beatty's playing again. Why ain't Beatty in the lineup? You're not hearing that much anymore, right? Same thing with Alvarez. It was a big talking point 4 or 5 days ago, but now, in the middle of the road trip, we were complaining about it, and it was a talking point. Now, it's not even a talking point anymore because they're constantly in the lineup now. Obviously, Alvarez is not going to play every day because he's a catcher. Nito's probably going to get a start or two every week. But, again, when it's not a talking point anymore, it slowly gets away. Now everybody's talking about, when's Verlander coming back, which all signs are pulling towards his former team, the Detroit Tigers. He'll be facing in Detroit on May 3rd. So it's about about a week and a half, about 8-9 days away for Verlander to be ready to go to pitch his first of the season wearing the Mets colors. And we'll see how he does in his old haunting rounds in Detroit. So again, Jose Butto will probably be sent back down to make room for Scherzer. And remember, guys, the Mets are playing with 25 men because when a guy's suspended, you can't add that roster spot for that guy. So you're rolling with 25 guys. So that is the issue that the Mets are having. They can only go with 12 pitchers, and that is something that, the Mets don't like to do. To let's go with 13 and on occasion 14. So that's where we have to look at right now. Yes, Todd, Braves is a 4-game series. If you do the math, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. So the fifth, if Scherzer wouldn't come back on, well, you know what? You're probably right. So May 1st, let's see. Yeah, so whenever Budo is supposed to pitch, that's going to be Scherzer's spot. And the new patch of New York Presbyterian is now like more of a rectangle, like a skinnier rectangle that has orange seams around it, a border, and blue background with the white New York Presbyterian. So it looks a lot more pleasing and a lot more Mets color oriented, which is nice to see. And yes, Christina, I'm very excited to see Verlander as well. People seem to forget this guy won the Cy Young last year. And, I understand. I'm not expecting him to have Cy Young numbers, but if he pitches to somewhat that would be awesome. or at least close to that. That would just make everything so much more easier. So we're going to get game day ready. As always, we're going to switch it up for everybody so it's a little bit more pleasing for everybody. Just give me a second, and we'll get game day right up here for Mets and Nationals. They are showing the rosin, which is kind of funny. But and some Mets players around the clubhouse, a couple of reporters have talked about it, that a couple of the Mets are wearing sweat and rosin shirts, which is kind of funny as well. So let me just set up game day for you guys, and then I'll put it up onto the screen. Just give me a second, let it load, and we'll be ready to go. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to the channel, Mets Nationals live right here on the channel. You'll get game day as well as the SNY audio. So you get two different aspects. If you're watching or listening, you'll have the opportunity of listening to the game or watching the stream, whatever you want to do. So you get options when you watch this channel when the Met game is going on. So give me 1 second, guys. The game day is loading. As you know, it's a little annoying. I know they have like a 3D image game day that is actually pretty cool to watch, but for some reason it doesn't really pull up very well at times. So unfortunately, I would like to do that because it shows like the batter swinging and the players running. Pretty cool. But it doesn't really work on a stream very well, and it's delayed, which kind of sucks. So we got what we got. But once again, guys, you're going to get the SNY audio, Gary Keith-Duran. And I don't know if anybody in the comments saw my background. We got Mr. Met and Mrs. Met here. We got Gary Keith-Duran with Darryl Strawberry bobblehead. And I got to show the strawberry bobblehead, right? You see the little gold chain right there, which is pretty cool. So Darryl Strawberry is hanging out with Gary Keith-Duran. These are the bobbleheads they gave out last year in the series that has New York Mets, and it's Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and Gary Cohen. And, of course, Joe, I am going back to Citi Field. I'm probably going to go on Saturday because they're giving that weird-looking doll robot possessed-looking doll. So, you know, why the hell not? So I'm probably going to go to that game. And I'm going on Monday so I'm going to go. I was going to go. I actually had a ticket for today, but unfortunately, I just decided to do the stream. And I'm probably going to go to 2 break games, Saturday and Monday. Monday works out great for a day game because I'm off, so that's perfect. Joe, I got it in the closet because I think when he's 42 years old, he might be a Met. So got to hold on to that jersey just in case. So there's a big-ass polar bear. I'm assuming it's Coca-Cola throwing the first pitch out, which is very odd. All right, so I'm going to put up game day right now. I'm sorry, guys. It was just weird. All right, guys, so game day is up. Mets are coming onto the field. It's a little hazy type of sun going down type of day. A little bit of a weird sun coming down today, so the field looks a little bit hazy, which is kind of interesting. So we're just waiting for the first batter of the game to walk up to the plate. Budo finishing up his pitches. And we're going to get Mets and Nationals at Citi Field. All right, here we go, guys. First pitch. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you can hear the audio.
He's added velocity in spring training and a cutter that you'll see a lot of to complement his great changeup.
His 5 good innings in Oakland, his first time out for the Mets this year. His first pitch is a fastball high to Alex Call, and we're underway. Call's been getting most of the left field rep with Corey Dickerson on the injured list, and Muto misses outside. It's 2-0. Dickerson's got a calf injury. He's only had a handful of at-bats. So Call getting the call. Picked up on waivers from the Guardians last year. He flies on the shallow center, and Nimmo handles it.
Can of corn for Nimmo. One out.
Defense and Alvarez getting a lot of plays. Whoa!
Wow.
Holy
That graphic with a cat.
Francisco
It's
is
funny.
so quick. He reminds me of Haji.
Can I say something about that graphic right there? Quick as a cat. That's great. But if Escobar were playing and they had Lindor going to his right, that could have created a problem.
Because Eduardo Escobar does not like cats.
That's
Or
not happy at all about cats.
now, folks, hold on. I want you to know that I was going to be caught off guard.
Well,
I
that's
was
the
warned
point.
that we had a new, what do you call it, Greg, or producer? A new defensive icon. I had no idea they were going to show it. Then, that's really scary. I just figured once he mentioned the new defensive icon, you just thought it was you.
No, that's the old defensive icon.
That's right.
2-1 to Luis Garcia. And he yanks one.
Oh, nice play by Alonso, getting that line drive, 2 outs.
Catch, 2 out.
Joe, I don't think I'm worried about the Islanders. I'm worried about those Rangers that decided to not even take advantage of home ice.
Here's your outfield. Watch this. Remaining 3 starters on the Mets. Of all the outfield folks, 2-time Gold Glover at right field. Marte the field left tonight. Jeffrey Candelario hitting 3rd in the order. You're gonna have to tighten
Jose
that up.
Butto,
I know, it's a pitch clock.
such an amazing difference from last year. Couldn't throw strikes, didn't leave him balls over the plate. Right now, he's just a whole different pitcher now.
6 years in
Woo.
Detroit, and he's quickly
We're
down
working
the count.
fast, looking good.
Butto showing off that changeup, which was what got him to the big leagues in the first place last year. Didn't happen in that first start against the Phillies last year, and a good one against Oakland last week. And he goes away with it, 1-2.
The changeup is going to play bigger, though, if he presents better velocity. Is what he has done. And that cutter is to help him against the left-handed hitters.
Candelario, who swung the bat better from this side of the plate, gets a fastball and fouls it back. 96 for Butto. Jose Butto, 25 years old. As Ronnie said, made 2 starts for Syracuse.
All right, we need more. Another future Met fan.
Since his
Awesome.
start in Oakland 9 days ago. And it's
Just
ball away.
outside and a little bit high.
On that fastball tonight, 2-2. His average fastball velocity in the first start against Oakland was 94.3. 2 out and nobody on, 2-2 to Candelario.
And he strikes him out on the curveball. And Jose Butto, quick work of the Nationals. 1-2-3, bottom of the first. Mets coming up. Nice to see the confines of Citi Field. Feel like I haven't been to Citi Field in like a month. It's kind of crazy, like especially with these long road trips. But it is nice to see Citi Field once again. Again, I don't live too far from there now, so every time I go to work or come home from work and head home, I get to see Citi Field every single day in the daytime and in the nighttime with the lights on. So it's always fun just to always say like, hey, I go there. It's pretty cool to see it every day from the highway, which is kind of interesting. Yes, Sumit, exactly. Exactly. Like I said, because of, an emergency, Butto had a pitch. It wasn't the best of scenario for him. But again, when you have a drastic ERA change from, almost a 5 ERA to all the way down to under a 2 ERA, ever since he came up with the Mets last year and went back down to the minors, ERA dropped almost 2.5 runs. Almost 3. And ever since that moment when he got sent back down after that debacle he had with the Mets last year, he's been great. Whatever happened, whatever changed, maybe whatever he was trying to do, he changed, or whatever he needed to change, he did. And that's signs of a good pitcher. Joe, well, it still hurts, but, it hurt even more after the Rangers lost. So Joe was talking about my toe. The Rangers tied the game yesterday. What was it? The second period. And I was jumping. I was excited, and I stubbed my toe, being stupid. And then, So, all right, Nimmo's to the plate. Bottom of the first, no score. Josiah Gray on the mound.
Getting a 350 for the year. And takes the first pitch for
Oh, Jay, that's great. I'm glad it's ahead.
You see his numbers so far. That is a fine ERA considering the record of 0-4, but we talked about it in the open. They have not scored any runs for him.
When you have a bad team like the Nationals did last year, you can afford to have
Exactly,
the young
Joe.
pitcher go out and take his lumps. You hope that it doesn't discourage him. Maybe Martinez watched Gray give up more home runs and more walks than any pitcher in the National League last year. There's a good changeup, and it's 1-2. But maybe it works for him in the long run.
Well, you hope that it doesn't carry further destroy him. Get someone up too early and really get discouraged and never really recover.
Well, so far, so good for him this year.
And Nimmo strikes out.
Nimmo.
That was some nice pitching, quick work of Nimmo. Wow. You don't see that from Nimmo rather much at all.
Nationals Catholic Health defense.
At least we got the Knicks.
Behind the plate. Don Smith over at first base. Luis Garcia came up and played shortstop, if you recall, a couple of years ago. Not really a shortstop, playing great second base. Robles has been patrolling center field like he always does. He's solid out there in dead central. Is that a little tighter here?
Well, you just stepped on the first pitch next to back. Otherwise, it was perfect, Gabe.
I tried.
Marte's played 2 games since coming back from a couple of games on the sideline with a neck problem. He's gone 3 for 8 of those 2 games. All appears to be well.
Marte got off to a blistering start on the opening series in Miami, and it's just kind of cooled off now. He's coming in the game hitting 239. He's trying to find it, and he will.
That cutter from Gray, which is a new pitch for him this year.
It's better. It's tighter than the slider, which rolled up there at times last season. That's why he gave up so many home runs.
Marte ground ball, should be 2 outs.
Shuffles over.
And it is.
Throws it on 2 away.
Now, what's the movement on this cutter? It's kind of unique because it really doesn't have a lot of movement and it doesn't have the move of a conventional cutter, but it's not running back into the right-hand hitter. That was always his issue last year. He has arm side run, so right-handed hitters got a lot of ball middle of the plate.
Lindor is up 2
Trying to get
outs.
the ball to the outside corner.
Cisco Lindor had a rough series in San Francisco, went just 3 for 17, and he takes a slider down for ball 1. Side Gray, who were shown New York, went to Les Moines, Division II school, because he had no Division I offers, and then wound up getting picked by Cincinnati.
And Lindor hits a fly ball, should end the inning. And it does. So the Mets go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. No score. Josiah Gray and Jose Butto. Good first inning for both of them. Once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. If you want to become a member of the channel, just click on that join button or click on that dollar logo in the comment section and you can become a member. Pick your choice of memberships depending on the memberships. I am putting together a couple of wallpapers for everybody's phones, laptops, all that stuff. I got about 3 so far that I put up. I got a Pete Alonso one. I also got a Buck Showalter one. I have a Scherzer and Verlander one. I'm not gonna put up that one until Verlander comes back. So I'm gonna, for you members, you're gonna be getting a couple of wallpapers that I'm putting together. That about a week or so, I'm gonna have about 4 of them, maybe even 5, so you guys can use those as wallpaper for whatever you want to use it for. So that's what we're doing for our members. And of course, don't forget, you are a member of the channel. You get to use the custom emojis that I put up there. Verlander is already up there. We got Scherzer, we got Diaz. We got a couple of LFGMs. We got the channel logo. And of course, the ghost for Senga, and of course, to put it in the books sign when the Mets win a ball game. So hopefully you enjoying that, and let's hope the Mets get a W, right? Because that's the most important thing. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting a lot of texts. Joe, with your with the quarterback, I guess Aaron Rodgers getting home is heading to New York tonight. There you go, Christina. All right, here we go. Mets Nationals, top of the second.
Second inning, Joey Meneses leans off against Jose Butto and takes a fastball for a strike. Meneses Douglas this weekend hit his first home run of the year after knocking the world on fire for the last 2 months last year. It's
And a ground ball hits off of Beatty when he dove, and he's going to second. I think he's going to get caught. And he's out. Yeah, got him at second. Good job by Beatty to get to the ball quickly and get him at second base. 1 out.
For the first out.
Yeah, not a good decision leading off the inning.
Beatty almost had that, bounced off his glove,
Tough hop for Beatty,
but the hustle and getting him out at second
It was
base.
a one hopper right on the money for Guillorme for the easy tag.
There you go. Nice play by Beatty and nice tag by Guillermo. 1 out.
Ness hasn't arrived yet. Fortunate that when he brought the glove up, he was able to find an arm.
He's trying to pull the abracadabra. He just caught his elbow before that left hand got there. Reach out, grab it.
Gabriel Ruiz, the switch hitting catcher who came with Josiah Gray from the Dodgers.
And that's a fly ball. That ball is gone. Woo! That was a shot by Ruiz. 1-0 Nationals.
Season opens the scoring, and it's 1-0 Washington.
Well, that was a pitch right there that Jose Buto was trying to get ahead, and Ruiz just turned on it. 414 feet to right center field.
Only had 10 home runs coming in. And lo and behold,
Yeah, that was a right on the outside corner, and he crushed it.
Menezes tried to get the double
Well,
there.
that's on you. Just tippy cap to the hitter there. You want to get ahead early in the at bat, and there you go.
The idea that he was going to be a power hitting, switch hitting catcher. He had just 7 home runs in his first full season last year, and now his second of this year. So it's certainly not unexpected that he would start hitting some long balls.
Nice little ovation for Dom.
Back as an opposing player at Citi Field. He takes a fastball high from Buto.
They say that Dom is still chasing the high fastball. And there he's laid off 2. The Mets have obviously scouted him, and they're pounding him up.
Dom's got 17 hits this year, all singles. I mean, the home run drought goes back to July of 2021. He's now at 351 at
PreGame.
bats since his last home run.
Long home run drought, and they're going to talk about it with the Mets. And that is a strike, generous strike, 3-1.
So probably played with Dominic Smith as well in AAA when Dom was sent down.
Dom spent 6 years with the Mets. Overall, at 246 with 46 home runs in those 6 years.
Ball
And
4.
changeup just away, ball 4, and so first 3 have reached base against Buto here in the second. Single, home run, and now a walk. Tonight's City Community Home Runs fan of the game is Jason from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. MidwestNY.tv/CHR to enter. Good luck, Jason. Well, best friends, Pete Alonso and Don Smith. Lane Thomas, the batter, with 1 out and 1 on.
Buto's getting his fastballs a little up right now.
You're probably thinking, how are we going to get enough at bats for Alonso and Smith sharing that position?
Well, the problem that the Mets ran into in 2021 is that there was no DH, right? You had DH in 2020 in the shortened season. If you had a DH in 2021, would things have worked out differently for these two? Would he be more of a DH? Would Donald play more first? Would he have been a more productive hitter? No way of knowing. Good slider by Buto, and it's 1-2.
Well, this year's the test because I think we said at times in 2020, because Dom was playing every day, it seemed to, I don't know, make him more at ease at the plate. He gets a chance now with the Nats.
Ground ball, tough play. Nice play by Alvarez to get the second out at first. Runner moves to second. 2 outs.
Good play. Well, he pounces on this ball, and he's got a strong arm. Alvarez throws a little laser beam over the Pete.
Now, C.J. Abrams, the 22-year-old shortstop, the Nats are running out a double play combination of Garcia and Abrams, each of whom is 22.
Ground ball. Gotta be a quick play and in and over. Guillaume with a nice play to end the inning. Nationals get on the board with a Ruiz right center field home run, solo home run to give them a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the second, Mets coming back up. Absolutely, yeah. Alvarez, he's actually he is quick off the ball. Like, you know, even his pop-up time, throwing out runners is pretty good. Again, with the new rules, it's hard for catchers to throw guys out. But other than that, he's quick on his feet when it comes to making defensive plays as well, as you just seen there on that little couple of feet from the mound, from the plate, that he went out and got that ball and thrown the guy out by, you know, about two steps. So that is something that is nice to see. Again, there hasn't been much problems with Alvarez behind the plate at all. You know, there's a lot of talk about his defense, the reason why he's not wasn't in the majors to start the season, and they needed some work behind the plate. But let's be honest, he's been pretty damn good. Like I said, you know, there was a couple of there was like one game where he had a little trouble, you know, blocking some pitches. But other than that, he's been really damn good. And, you know, it would be great if he starts hitting a little bit more. And that would be nice because, again, you see, like I said in the pregame, Alvarez and Beatty has slowly been getting more playing time, and it's not even a talking point anymore. You know, you're not looking at the lineup saying, "Oh, hopefully Beatty and Alvarez is in the lineup." You're not really talking about that anymore. Now you bring up, "Wow, Escobar hasn't played in a while." Well, there you go. Right? You know, Nito is a backup. He should be the backup right now. You know, twice a week, put Nito in there. You know, day game after a night game. You know, long extra inning game. Maybe you'll put Nito in there. But other than that, Alvarez should be playing every day. Beatty should be playing every day with spot starts here and there for Nito and Escobar. So that's what the Mets should be doing. And that's nice to see because Alvarez defensively really hasn't been that much of an issue. And the same thing goes for Beatty. All right, Alonso up, 1-0 Nationals, bottom of the second.
Lo and behold, has a run to work with. First run that the Nats have scored while Gray has been in the game this season. This is his fifth start.
That's hard to
Beaton went for his last 8 in San Francisco after a rollicking road trip. And Gray has worked pretty nicely up in the strike zone. 0-2 to Alonso.
Well, up and in fastball, good location.
Yeah, Alonso's struggling just a little bit at the end of that West Coast trip.
And he goes low and away with the
And he
ball.
strikes
Strikes
out on 3
Alonso.
pitches.
And that's the first
1 out.
Well, Pete came out for early BP today. Watched him take BP. He just got fixed very tough right there by Gray.
No, he's starting to swing at those sliders. That was his problem for a while, too.
Yes.
So beyond that, Jeff McNeil, who has just been tearing the cover off the ball for looping hits in places where nobody had played.
He's got the magic wand.
He does. Over the last 8 games, hitting .448. He starts the day 7th in the National League in on-base percentage. I don't necessarily think of McNeil as a high on-base percentage guy, but he has been willing to work deeper counts and draw more walks.
Yeah, that comes with experience, and there's your defense set up against him. It looks straight up on the right side, really.
I'm sure you need to play on grass like that. The game's a foul on that cutter running in on.
Remember on the road trip, very successful road trip, even though they ended with 2 losses. 7-3, you'll take that anytime on the West Coast. It's tough to win out there. McNeil had to 1 for 11 started off in Oakland. Boy, did he turn it on in LA.
Ball
And
3.
San Francisco.
Like they've been talking about, McNeil has been working the count a lot more than he has in the past. Nice to see.
Starts against the Mets with a 12 ERA, but he's retired the first 4 tonight and working with the lead.
Neil pops it up. Should be 2
Should
outs.
be easy for Dom Smith. Step into foul territory, 2 out.
Well, again, the great equalizer for Gray has become that cutter. because he missed the 4-leaf to McNeil 3 times outside. Ball just ran on his arm side, and then he threw a little cutter, and it doesn't move much, but it doesn't move away from the left-handed hitter, and it tied Jeff up. One thing I got to tell you, folks.
Actually, though, I thought the off day would help us, considering the Mets didn't look that good in the last 2 games of the series against the Giants.
This is the toughest game for
Stezo, the Nationals are considered, I think they're a hell of a lot better than the A's. Nationals got some players.
West Coast time, you've been there for 10 days. You just kind of not in sync. It takes one game to get back into the flow. It always seemed for me, anyway.
That's got home about 6 a.m. yesterday morning. And, you have an off day, but you get home at 6 in the morning after flying overnight. You're not really feeling like it's an off day. 1-2 to Vogel back. 6 hits in his last 17 at-bats. He takes the load in from Gray with that slider, and it's 2-2.
Brett Beatty on deck.
Hitting 7th in the order will be next. Nats just came from a series in Minnesota where they won 2 out of 3. According to temperature at game time, the 3 coldest games in Nationals history. That's hit hard.
And Vogelback hits it down the line. It's probably going to be a single, and it is. 2-out hit for Vogelback.
Vogelback with a shot. Past Dom Smith for the Mets first.
Brett Beatty coming up.
This ball's just hooking away from Dom as well. Now, you think that Vogelback would be your typical left-hand hitter, likes the ball down. He is a good high ball hitter.
Come on, Brett.
Beatty gets jammed by that first cutter from Gray. Beatty, after a slow start, 4 hits in his last 3 games. He's had 21 at-bats since his call-up, hitting .238. Looking for his first extra base hit. And Beatty smashes that one foul. Another cutter.
Beatty hits a shot foul. Come on, Brett.
Gray hit with 2 on Beatty. And goes away with the changeup, 1 and 2.
Gray's missed kind of badly with that changeup to the
It is interesting. Beatty with 2 strikes so far in the big leagues have been a lot better with 2 strikes than he was last year. Nice to see him work the count a little bit and make it a hard out for the pitcher, especially with 2 strikes.
Long hold.
And he strikes out, as I just said that. I jinxed him, I guess. Beatty strikes out. That ends the bottom of the second. 1-0 Nationals. So, yeah, I mean, damn. But it is, it's the second inning. Let's not go crazy here. The Mets, had their off day yesterday. Finally back home. Again, people are going to start to get – yeah, no, I'm sorry. I jinxed him. I did. I'm like, yeah, he looks – he's been working counts and having good at-bats with 2 strikes, and then he strikes out. So, I apologize. Don't blame Beatty. Blame me. I'm blocked. So, yeah, unfortunately. But see if Budo can put together another solid inning. Again, gave up a home run to Ruiz to make it 1-0 in the second. But you keep this game close, that's when you get into the bullpens. And listen, Josiah Gray has been one of their best pitchers. And they were saying it. That was the first run the Nationals have gave him since the season started. He has not got a run this year while he was in the game. That's insane. So, and Josiah Gray has been really good this year for the Nationals. So, again, no excuse. Mets got a hit, but second inning, we got a long way to go. Yeah, exactly, Joe. Unfortunately, I'm so close to Citi Field, he hurt me. Damn. Who knew? I should have had the trash can. Maybe he would have heard it. I would have told him what pitch was coming, so he didn't swing at that slider. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to Mets Nationals live right here on the channel. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. Let's get more people in this stream for the home sweet home. City Field, we're back. Top of the third, 1-0 Nationals. Budo on the mound. Ground ball should be a quick out. One pitch, one out. There we go.
So swings at a higher percentage of first pitches than any player in the game. Probably rounds out of the first pitch he sees. In past years, you had 3 trips from each division opponent coming in this City Field. This year, got 4 with the Braves this weekend, and then the Mets will see him again in August, and then that's it.
Can't say that I like that.
I mean, everybody says, well, you don't want to see the Marlins and Nats 19 times. Yeah, but you'd love to see the Braves and Phillies 19 times.
Yes.
And that's the trade-off.
Precisely.
Now, it's called fly to center his first time.
Although last year the Mets won 14-5 against the Nats. So
They lose some more opportunities to back up on those marginal teams. It's going to make a big difference to the Nationals this year, but they're probably happy not to see their own division quite as much. 17-59 against the East this year, the worst ever for any team against their own division since divisional play began in 1969.
they didn't even win a quarter of their divisional games. My goodness. Juxtapose that to the Mets, and that's what 54-26 in division last year.
And he walks him, 1-out walk.
So Cole draws the second walk from Buto. So I arrived at the ballpark today, and I've been doing Major League games for 35 years, 3 more in minors, so 38 years. And something happened to me today that's never happened before. I've always used the same scorecards for games. This happened to me from Sunday night's game that I filled out while watching. So I arrived to the ballpark today and found that I did not have my scorecard with me. I didn't have a fresh scorecard to use for tonight's game.
That must have put you in a little bit of a tizzy.
You know, I'm a creature of habit. You might have noticed that over the years. So, yeah, I was a little, my stomach dropped a little bit. And then I realized that Keith uses a scorecard that is not the same as mine, but at least the same size as mine. See how I've got the last several games here? These are mine. This is Keith's. And I'm using Keith's scorecard tonight. And I have to tell you,
Watch how pristine his broadcast will be today.
it's a big adjustment.
It's a nice scorecard, though.
It's a lovely scorecard if it's what you're used to, but if you've been using that same scorecard for 38 years, and all of a sudden you're being asked to, everybody thinks a different place.
So the problem is that you usually have stuff that you are going to go to in the same place all the time, and now you don't.
Right? I have to kind of search. It's like the difference between being a good tight
Close
end
play
and
at first,
being a
but he's safe.
But I have to say, Keith, if I were to start from scratch and start with a scorecard at the beginning of my tenure, I would have gone with yours. Yours has a lot of great stuff.
I got that card when I started.
Some of those Jim Cott.
Oh, you did? I made my alterations to it, but it basically was the kind of card that Jim Cott used, my old teammate, Hall of Famer.
Another pickoff.
Now, has both of your cards, some disengagements there from Buto, have they gone through an evolution, or are they exactly how it was 38 years ago?
I added a little bit of space on the side for notes, so it went to a slightly larger format.
Ground ball might be a double play, and it's not.
I was shocked the call wasn't running on that pitch. After 2 disengagements, he was
Quick runner at home plate, but 2 outs. Got the lead runner, 2 outs.
Not going, and so the Mets were able to get the force play at second for the second out.
I think Buto kind of quick pitched him to the plate or went very quickly, and he just wasn't ready to go. Well, this is the team that has 9 stolen bases, caught 5 times, low success rate. You mentioned earlier, they do not manufacture runs.
they also don't hit home runs, so it's a tough scenario. 13th in the league in walks, 15th in home runs. We'll hope they have one tonight. Off the bat of Gabriel Ruiz. Candelario takes fastball high, and it's 2-0.
Final question.
Budo, the last 2
When you get
innings,
home or tomorrow,
fastball has been a little bit
take
high
this
most of the
scorecard
time.
and put it on one of your scorecards.
Yes.
Transcribe it. Yes. 100%.
There's no way in the world I can have this in my rotation.
Are you going to have it framed and hang it in your office?
You know what? I'm going to sign it and give it to you, Keith, as a tribute to your being generous enough to let me one of your scorecards. I believe that there was an instance, either last year or the year before, where I lent you one of my scorecards.
Yes.
Now, how did you find that?
It's very similar. I didn't have a problem.
You don't have the little boxes to put the balls and strikes in.
I don't have to put down all that information that you do. No swing on that. You are the play-by-play guy. Folks, Gary has, I'm a little older and my eyesight's gone. I can't read his writing. It's not that it was bad handwriting. He's got, but it's just, you gotta get it like Sherlock Holmes and get a gosh darn magnifying glass.
Keith, can I be honest? There are times when I can't read my writing. Trade went to Candelario. Joey Meneses would be next.
And another walk from Budo.
Change him up and away, and that's the second.
2 on, 2 out. Meneses coming in. Hefner coming out.
So a tough spot
Talk to
here.
Budo,
Meneses
which
coming up
I like that. Hefner's coming out in this
to-
little wild here.
Well, I do
Last 2
say
innings.
I don't usually suffer from scorecard envy, but I have a little sitting next to you guys with these detailed ones. Mine looks like scorecard for dummies.
Robert, I understand I like the positivity, but no, there's too many teams in your division to get it going there.
You tell me. You can't read that. You can't read that? Come on, get a little closer.
You can read it and you can tell the spin on the baseball with the slider. Like that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, good hitter. Man.
All right, so waiting for Hefner to have a conversation with Budo,
Well, Joey
who
Meneses
has a little bit of a problem with walking here, and now Joey Meneses,
10 years in the minor leagues,
who
2019,
is a dangerous hitter at the plate here, a guy that's not easily you can strike out here, a guy that likes to put the bat on the ball. So let's see what Budo does here.
That's the sales of it. Meneses at the base hit on Beatty's glove, who was thrown out trying to stretch his first time, and Budo picks off the outside corner for a strike. Budo in his first start in Oakland walked 4 in 5 innings. He's already walked 3 in 2 2/3 tonight.
Ron Bourne, there you go. Bat on the ball, 2-0 Nationals.
Turns third, he'll come in to score. On the third goes Candelario.
Damn it.
Joey Meneses with his second hit of the night.
All right, guys, I'll be right back.
Well, took the Nats their 7th series to finally win a series. Here's the base hit, going right with the pitch, down and away, little cutter, and went right up the middle with it. Good lead by Guillermo. Two outs, everybody on contact runs, no hesitation. This is what Washington has to do. They have to take the extra base.
So now Gabriel Ruiz, who homered his first time up, and that fastball sails way up high.
Saw that fastball just missed the Gary call. The first thing you want to do when you're a young pitcher and you're in a little bit of trouble is overthrow. That's what you've got to really protect against. Execution over overthrowing.
Curveball outside. It's 2-0 to Ruiz. His home run was his second of the year, his 8th RBI.
Me too,
Meneses
Ken.
with the
I don't like the way
RBI.
Budo, Budo his first start was pounding strikes. Now he's nitpicking around the plate now, and it's just getting him in trouble.
RBI totals in game 22. And now 3-0 to Ruiz with Dom Smith waiting on deck.
I would expect after a home run to your first at bat, he'd have the swing. He's going to swing here on 3-0.
There's a strike. Remember, as Buck watches Muto that the Mets are a man short in their bullpen. Because of the Max Scherzer suspension, Muto's taking his spot in the rotation, but the Mets are not able to replace him on the roster. So instead of 8 relievers, they have 7. 3-1 coming, and Luis
Popped it up.
Foul.
Should end the inning, and it does. But 2 out RBI by Meneses to give the Nationals a 2-0 lead. Bottom of the third, Mets down by 2. Well, this is what you get from a young pitcher, Jose Budo, right? First start, throwing strikes, wasn't afraid to pound the strike zone, working the corners. This game, not really locating his fastball. He's missing high on his fastball a lot. And when you start putting them in hitters' counts, I don't care who you're facing, they're going to hit you, especially when they know you got to throw a strike. So what are they going to look? They're going to look middle in. They're going to look somewhere around the plate because you can't throw strikes. And that hurts any pitcher. Doesn't matter who's the team. You're going to get – and like I said, the Nationals, they're a bad team, absolutely, but they got some hitters in that lineup. And, again, you always worry about these teams. The A's are another story, but you always worry about teams like this because they got a lot of young kids here who want to stay in the big leagues, and that's always dangerous, right? They just took 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Twins. Twins are in first place in the Central. They're not a bad team. The Twins are a really good team, and the Nationals took 2 out of 3. So you got to be careful with a team like this because there's a lot of young kids that want to stay in the show, and they're going to do everything they can to do it. And again, that's no excuses for good teams, but again, these things happen. The Nationals did beat the Twins 2 out of 3. So, that shouldn't happen either, but it does. Right? That's why we watch the game. Right? If we knew the outcome of the game or we knew every bad team was going to lose to a good team, we wouldn't really care to watch, right? Because we would know the outcome. But no excuses for the Mets. The offense got to start going. Again, 2 runs ain't the end of the world here, but, when it gets later into the ball games, you're going to start squeezing that bat a little tighter because you need those runs to get back into the ball game. So we're going to the bottom of the third, bottom of the order, 8-9-1 for the Mets. Let's see if the Mets can get some runs here on Josiah Gray.
Let his first 4 start. Luis Guillorme will lead off for New York in the home third. Guillorme starting for the 5th time in the last 6 games. It's enabled Buck Showalter to give Starling Marte time tonight, giving Marcana time. Marcana came off the bench to pinch hit for Guillorme in the 4th inning Sunday night. That was a little unusual. But with the tough left-hander Taylor Rogers in the game, Buck felt as though he had no other option. And kind of wound up hitting a sacrifice fly and then staying in the rest of the way. That's something we've seen the Giants do a lot in recent years.
Yeah, they flipped their lineup over, right?
I don't think so, Joe.
The Mets. And the fastball for a strike to Guillorme, and it's 2-2. Francisco Alvarez on deck, and then Brandon Nimmo. Was going to find him ahead on that last pop-up that ended the top of the inning. But appears to be okay. Flip foul by Guillorme. Reyes struck out 3 over the first 2 innings, giving up only 1 base runner. That was a base hit by Vogelbach.
Good at bat by Guillorme.
Still 2-2. Gray brought to the Nats in the trade in the summer of 2021 that sent Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Dodgers.
All right. Fouling off a couple of pitches there. Nice at bat.
Scherzer's the Mets, Turner to the Phillies, and now Gray and Ruiz remain as the 2 key components for the Nats, and that's the way these short-term versus long-term trades work. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Guillorme.
And he strikes him out. Worked the count, made him throw some pitches, but Guillermo strikes out at a high fastball.
Well, Gary, Jose Budo in spot start duty, 2 runs through the first 3 innings. Technically, the Mets could have gone with Kodai Senga on regular rest today if they wanted, but opted to give him the extra day. So that means Senga's going to start tomorrow, and if you're a Mets fan, you want to pay a little more attention to that start than maybe normal, because you have an opportunity to sit potentially where I'm sitting starting tomorrow night. That's the Coors Light Silver Seats. If Kodai Senga strikes out 4 or more batters tomorrow, as he's done in each of his first 4 starts, you can have an opportunity to win. These are very comfortable seats. I'm really enjoying the view up here as well. 6 games this season where this promotion will be going. So if you want more information, head to SMY's Facebook and Twitter page. Again, 4+ strikeouts for Kodai Senga tomorrow, and you could be sitting up here quite soon.
You look very relaxed in those seats, Steve.
I'm playing a part right now. Now, listen, they're very comfortable, right? The seats themselves they're lush. I mean, this is nice on a normal night. I'm freezing right now. The wind up here is howling. I've got a cup holder that is supposed to keep your beverage.
And Alvarez strikes out.
And I don't need
Josiah
that.
Gray is mowing down Mets hitters right now.
I've got tea that I want to get back to.
Steve, what is someone?
Steve, will you be leaving a note behind for the lucky fan who might sit in those seats?
If you think that I'm staying up here an extra second to leave a note, you're out of your mind. But hey, watch tomorrow. You want
And Nimmo gets a 2-out base hit.
It's gonna warm up soon. It's gonna be great up here. It is great, but it's warm out. But tonight. Come on.
Good try, Steve.
Good save.
I wouldn't say that, but it's a good try. I tell you what, Brandon has just this season hit more line drive bullets to all fields. I mean, he has just been blistering.
So the Mets start their second time around the
All right, Marte, let's see how they do second time around the order. Marte's just been swinging at all those sliders. Burkhardt was great. I think Burkhardt's better than Gelbs, but Gelbs is he's okay.
I was talking to Brandon about being mic'd up for last night's broadcast, or 2 nights ago, the broadcast, and he said he was really nervous in the beginning because, he's getting his ready position and to chase it, but he still has to talk to the guys in the booth. But after a while, it became easier and easier. I told him that my favorite thing that he said about while he was out there for that inning, when they talked about the big contract he signed, listen, my dad's an accountant, and he's not letting me get in too much trouble. I thought that was great.
Like talking about getting from a bull when he was 7, thus forging his baseball career. Did a great job. 2-1 to Marte. Swing and a miss. Another good slider.
Marte has not figured out the slider this year at
A
all.
lot of swing and miss that we have not seen in Josiah Gray's game last season.
Season high strikeouts is 6. He's already got 5 tonight.
And strikes out with the fastball. Josiah Gray mowing down the Mets. Bottom going to the top of the 4th, 2-0 Nationals. Marte has been, he started off really hot to start the season. Like the first 5 or 6 games was red hot in Miami. But ever since, he went down with that neck injury when he's trying to steal third. He's been struggling ever since. Just little lost at the plate right now. And again, there's no coincidence that the Mets lineup goes when Marte goes. You've seen that last year when he was out for the majority of September. And right now, he's not hitting, even though the Mets are winning ball games. You notice the production of this lineup struggles a little bit, especially at the top of the order when Marte is not getting the job done. So hopefully you can get it done soon. But We're going to the top of the fourth, 2-0 Nationals. Once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. Get more people in the stream. Once again, guys, if you want to become a member of the channel, click the join button or the money logo on the comment section, and you can pick a membership, and then you go from there and get everything you need as a member. Of course, custom emojis. You're going to get phone wallpapers and laptop wallpapers that I'll be putting together very shortly. In about a week or so, you'll have them up. And the members, I'll post them on the community page to the members only, and you'll get access to all of that fun stuff as well. And I am getting channel pins that I'm getting made that hopefully come next week. So they're going to be on sale rather shortly. Once I get them, I'll show them to you and all that fun stuff. So they will be for sale soon. Unfortunately, I try to get the pins on the merchandise website, but they were too damn expensive to make, and they would have cost too much for everybody. So that's crazy to me. All right, Jose Budo, top of the fourth. See if the Mets can get out of this inning quick and get the offense starting to go somewhere.
Jose Buto.
Steven, I wouldn't say no fight, but again, it's early. We'll see. Sometimes a pitcher just has the day. You know, sometimes you got to tip your cap. It's not always the batters. Sometimes the pitchers just has it that night.
Smith and Lane Thomas and C.J. Abrams for the Nationals in the fourth. Foul, 2-2. Buto pitching at Citi Field for the first time tonight.
Ground ball right to Budo. 1 out.
From truck driver to Jets legend, newly minted Hall of Famer Joe Flacco gets personal about his long journey to greatness. Flacco 73, presented by PreGame, Sunday at 5:30 p.m. only on SNY.
If you're wondering how many pitches Budo has, 56, 1 out in the fourth. So pitch count, not too bad. Quick inning would be nice for him.
This is off with the change up, and it's 2-0.
Can't get that fastball down.
Midsummer 2 years ago when they traded John Lester to St. Louis. Lester was a huge piece of the Cardinals, and Thomas tore it up the second half for Washington.
Ichiro, what's up?
Played almost every day last year. Hit 17 home runs, batted .241.
He get a lot of big hits against the Mets as well.
Does not yet have a home run this year through his first 80 at-bats. Slider on the corner for a strike rate, too.
No, he can control his slider today. His fastball has been the issue for Budo today.
3-2 coming.
And he walks him.
The fourth walk given up by Buto.
4 walks in 4 innings. Not good.
Driver around the majors presented by your Tri-State Audi dealers. Well, some 30-odd years after Kevin Brown became the first player to sign a 9-figure contract, the Pirates for the first time give a contract of over $100 million to a player. Wow. Ryan Reynolds, 8-year, $106 million extension. 30 years.
Ground ball.
Lindor, though, has nobody to throw to.
Oh, he dropped the ball. Oh,
They dropped the ball, and everybody's safe.
just get the out at first.
Orbe went for the ball. So did Lindor. So there was nobody to cover second. And that's going to be scored an error on Lindor for dropping it as he was trying to make the tag. Yep.
He didn't know whether to take it out of his glove, keep it in his glove, and in the transfer here, he ends up losing it. That's where he lost it.
I just don't understand that. You got 1 out. You could have got the second out at first and give your pitcher 2 outs there.
Mets did not have an infield error in their first 21 games until.
Let's put your pitcher in a bind here.
Francisco. That was the longest any team had gone without an infield.
Steven, you can't destroy the bullpen every single game either. If you use your comment and your motto, the Mets would be taking out pitches in the third inning. It's not sustainable. Yacobonis is warming in the bullpen.
Remember when Scherzer got thrown out of the game, Giacomonis came in and threw 49 pitches.
And Beatty bobbles it and gets the out at first still. 2 outs. Nice recovery.
A smash. And Beatty unable to come up with it cleanly. Had he done so, it should have been a double play. But I don't know how he still had time to get Robles, who runs very fast.
Again, that was bad footwork there. He could have got in front of it, but makes the recovery, gets the second out. Look, that could have been the third out of the ball game. Of the inning, excuse me.
It really wasn't a difficult hop, but the ball was a bullet.
All right, see if Budo can get out of it here. 2 runners in scoring position.
Looking, but it was still running. I mean, it wasn't like he was dogging it down there. Shouldn't be going because it was going to be a double play if he fielded it cleanly or attempted a double play.
Ball takes a changeup out of the strike zone, and again, Buto falls behind 2-0. Buto with a big out to get here, trying to keep in contact in this game, down 2-0 in the fourth, behind on call 2-0. And a 3-0. This is a Nationals team that doesn't generally stand around and wait for walks. But Buto has already walked 4 in 3 2/3 innings.
You got to go after your call, even though you're behind 3-0. The next hitter is a good hitter, Garcia.
Cole takes a fastball strike.
If Yacobonis is ready, it's a big decision. If he loses this batter, it's a big decision for Buck whether to go to the pen.
70th pitch for Buto. It's bounced foul. And it's 3-2.
All right, come on. Yeah, the walks are killing him for sure, Christina. Yacobonis, Joe.
Thomas in third, Abrams in second, with 2 out. 3 2 outs called.
Oh, just high. That was a good pitch. Hefner's coming out to speak to him. Bases loaded, 2 outs with a good hitter in Garcia coming up.
Buto will get at least one more batter. It's 5 walks issued by Jose Buto.
It's a pretty good pitch there, Keith. Call with a good eye. Yeah, this is not a stall. I mean, technically, if you want your pitcher to really get warm, you can send your pitching coach out there, then go out when he comes back in the dugout, go out and make a pull to change. But Yacobonis looks ready.
Let's look at the road ahead.
Looks like Buto is going to get Garcia. One more batter. Bases loaded. Already 2-0 Nationals in the top of the fourth.
Round series to Monday, which would be Matt Scherzer's scheduled date to return. And just some food for thought, because I know it's supposed to rain Saturday. If the Mets get rained out Saturday, if they want Scherzer to pitch Monday, they'd have to play a doubleheader Sunday. Right. Not wait till later in the season.
10 games.
10 games.
Right, not a day. Right.
He's going to see it takes ball. I bet you they're already thinking about that.
It's the one pitch that he needs to get ahead, one at batter here, and it's the one pitch he threw leading off the changeup, which he has not been able to get over.
Garcia's 0 for 2.
Ball 2.
2-0.
The difference between Gray and Buto tonight, Gray been very aggressive with his first 2 pitches in the count. Buto less than that.
Thomas in third, Abrams in second, Call at first, behind 2-0.
And that's a strike?
2-1. Garcia just 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position this season. They moved him out of the cleanup spot with the 2-hole tonight.
All right. Strike 2. Come on.
So late on that fastball. That would tell me as a pitcher Even though changeup's my best pitch, he's a little late on that fastball. I'd love to bury a fastball in. Might be sitting on that change.
2-2 coming. And Garcia takes curveball.
Wasn't a bad idea, that curveball, but full count.
Washington's showing some good play patience.
That was not a bad pitch to throw. The hitter just took it.
Pitches. They're close. He had a strikeout against Candelario on that pitch. That's why he threw it.
Come on.
Thomas Abrams a call running, and Garcia
Ground ball should end the inning. There you go. Good job. Got out of that jam with no runs. Buto gets out of that fourth inning bind. Nationals do not score. There we go. Again, that was some good pitching in that at bat right there. Again, that curveball 2-2, that was not a bad pitch. That was a nasty pitch. Just was good piece of hitting, taking that pitch, but throws him a low fastball, little behind, ground ball to Lindor for the third out. So let's see if the Mets can get some runs on the board here. Mets 21-28. I don't know about discipline at the plate, but again, it's called baseball. Sometimes the pitcher has it that night. That's basically it. But again, it's only the fourth inning, guys. It's not like it's the eighth inning and the Mets don't have nothing going on. Like, it's the fourth inning. Again, guys, it is baseball. You lose to bad teams. It happens. Again, if you were not with me earlier, the Washington Nationals beat the Minnesota Twins 2 out of 3. Minnesota Twins are in first place in the AL Central. They've played very well, the Twins. And the Nationals beat them 2 out of 3. Bad teams beat good teams. It happens. That's what happens in baseball. Again, it doesn't happen a lot, but it happens more than you actually think. So you have to understand that as well. Again, even the Oakland A's have, 5 wins this year? Even they got 5 wins. Somehow, some way, they have 5 wins. As bad as they are. The Nationals, the Tigers, the Royals, you can go on and on and on. Exactly. Can Budo, can you really blame Budo in this inning? Besides the walks, and Ken just scored it up. The defense kind of cost them, probably another inning here. If Lindor would have just went to first, that inning would have never developed. All right, Lindor is up, 2-0 Nationals, bottom 4.
The Mets in the palm of his hand so far, and he throws a knee-high fastball for a strike. Gray's given up 2 singles, struck out 6 over the first 3 innings. And he's got himself a 2-0 lead. Lindor flying out to right his first time up. Alonso and McNeil to follow. Late on that fastball. It's 0-2.
Lindor is struggling at the plate. Average is not looking good. 218. RBIs are all right. Home runs are okay, but he is struggling.
Just like Gray, certainly it looks like he's turned a major corner after monumental struggles last year.
Lindor hits a fly ball right to the left fielder. 1 out. Yeah, again, the problem with Beatty, and we talked about this defensively, he's got better, but his footwork isn't perfect. In that situation there with that ground ball where he bobbled it, he recovered, but he bobbled it. It could have been in a double play. He didn't have to backhand that ball. He could have gotten in front of it and turned a double play. His footwork is a little off. It's not perfect. Alonso up, 1 out. Alonso also struggling the last game or two. Starting to fish at that slider a little bit. There's that slider.
He also threw a fastball up and in during that first at bat.
He's very proud of his ability not to chase this year, and his chase rate is way down. It's the first time in a while we've seen him chase the way he has the 2 sliders against Gray.
Comes with success and experience.
There goes that slider.
2-2.
A little out in front of those sliders there. Stepping in the bucket.
He's been so hot coming out of the gates this year. Sort of the first little skid he's hit over his last 9.
And strikes out with another slider. 0 for 10 for Alonso the last couple of games.
And he has been dominant. That's a season high in striking.
Josiah Gray just mowing the Mets down. Just one of those nights for Josiah Gray. And that slider's not moving that much. It's on the plate. Pete is, he was good early on with that slider, staying back on those pitches, taking that ball the other way. He's pulling off, stepping in the bucket. 2 outs, McNeil up.
If you look at his shoulders, his shoulders are extraordinary.
And Jeff McNeil has fouled out his first time up. Gray's also kept his pitch count down tonight.
Pops it up, should end the inning, and it's gonna. There it is. Another quick inning for Josiah Gray. Top of the 5th coming. Nationals 2, Mets 0. Mets have 2 hits. Nationals have 3. Again, you see it right now when it comes to Pete Alonso. I mean, you can say about all across the board in the lineup right now. Marte struggling. Alonso 0 for 10 in his last 10 at-bats. I think he has 5 strikeouts in those 10 at-bats. Again, it's a slider right there. That's something that Pete Alonso had trouble with. He got a little bit better last year, but he struggled with the slider. And right now, over the last couple at bats, the slider is his bugaboo again. And that's the issue when it comes to Pete Alonso right now. But again, the lineup is not doing well at all right now. And that's a little worrisome right now. You don't want to, come back home and, have trouble scoring runs right now, especially against the Nationals, who score under 4 runs per ball game. You scored 3 or 4 runs in a game against the Nationals, you're probably going to win. Especially with a team, again, scores under 4 runs per ball game. 4 or 5 runs are probably going to win you a ball game against the Nationals. So, and, you got to get that offense going because, the Atlanta Braves are coming to town very, very shortly. And, they've played well as well. And we all know about their offense. They're above 5 runs per game. So it's going to be difficult for the rotation. And if your lineup is not scoring, you're going to have a hard time beating the Braves. But, again, we're going to worry about the Nationals right now in today's game. But that is the issue that the Mets are falling into right now. You got Marte, who's struggling. You got Alonso, who was red hot for the first 20-plus games of the season, now struggling as well with Lindor, who is in a bind right now, batting just over 200. Besides Nemo and Vogelback for that matter, who's actually hitting the ball, the lineup is struggling right now. They're showing the Pittsburgh beating the Dodgers. Pittsburgh's playing well right now. Top of the 5th, 2-0 Nationals. Is Budo still in the bowl game or is it Yacabonis? Budo is staying in. I like that call by Buck Showalter. Here we go. Took an hour for 4 innings. Not bad.
The Pirates, the Orioles are off to a fantastic start. They've won 7 straight to get to 15-7, and yet they're still 4.5 games behind the Rays, who are 14-0 at home. The best start, the longest winning streak to start a season at home since 1886.
The Orioles' 7-game win streak, they've allowed only 11 runs in those 7 games. And a real feel-good story will go along with that great record for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They called up a 13-year minor league veteran.
Well, Steven, you're going to lose baseball games and you're going to win baseball games. That's what happens. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Nice play by Pete and Budo. That was right between both of them, but it was a nice play. Let's see if they're going to challenge. Should be 1 out. He might be safe. They're telling them to check.
Now, Budo makes an effort for it, Ron, but does the right thing when he can't get there.
The problem is, though, he tagged the bag before he had the ball, and then his foot came up on the bag when he caught the
might
ball,
be safe.
in my estimation.
Tough play, though.
And that's our challenge in the call.
No, they don't have one. His foot kind of went on Candelario's, so he was trying to find it.
Yeah, he's going to be safe.
Ankle.
Damn it.
Safe.
That's a tough play
Well,
for a pitcher.
really great try.
And it's a tough play for a first baseman. And the feed was there from Pete. It's just, You always try to avoid having your pitcher search for the bag as the ball is coming. That's what you can do here.
So this one's likely to be overturned. Ron Kolpa and Todd Tishner are the.
Remember, there was an out call on the field, so it's got to be conclusive, 100% conclusive to change the call. So you got to remember that the play is out on the field. It depends if they have enough evidence to overturn it.
See, again, doesn't really get that toe plate on the bag. You were always taught in my day to run to the line and then run straight up the line, because then you don't have to look for the bag, because the bag is right in front of you. So you run to about 6 feet before the bag on the line, make a left turn, and run straight up the bag. So then you catch, and you're natural.
It's a long review right now, so clearly
it does take you long. You just have to know the run.
they're not coming conclusive yet. Remember, out is the call. Let's see. Here we go. All right, here we go. What's the call? And they called them out. Not enough evidence. 1 out. Mets got a call there. It looked like he was safe, but probably not enough evidence to overturn the out call on the field. Well, Steven, why did the Nationals beat the Twins 2 out of 3?
Let's see. Did he hit the bag right there? No, he did.
He did not have his foot on the base at any point with the ball.
It's what I said before. His foot might have touched it earlier, real early, but it's before he had the ball, so it didn't matter.
Well, Mets might have got a call there. 1 out. Another slow ground ball. Alvarez got it. 2 outs. There we go.
I think we've seen more of these early this season than we've seen the last few years. Balls that stand that look like they should be overturned.
My theory, the umpires have so much on their plate that it's going to take major evidence to overturn a call that's made on the field. That's just my theory.
So Buto with a chance for a 1-2-3 inning facing Caber Ruiz, who had a home run against the first time up, and he misses with a curveball for 1. Mark Carlson, the first base umpiring for Chief.
Oh, that should have been a strike. Let's see.
Okay, see how it touches there, maybe? And then by the time he gets it in his glove, his foot is off, coming out. I don't know.
I don't think his foot ever went back.
Yeah, I don't think it happened. Exactly. I have to go to a higher court, not on field.
Situation in Budo here. 2 strikes. Can't walk a batter here. You got to get out of this inning here.
His foot's not on the bag there.
I don't see his foot on the bag at all. So maybe they feel there wasn't enough evidence.
Well, maybe, but show me the evidence that he was out. Buto will take it. It obviously works for the Mets, but it's supposed to be about getting these calls right? And that is the point of replay, right?
Ball 4. 2 out walk. That's what hurt Budo. And Buck Showalter might be. Nope, he's going to give him 1 more batter, it looks like.
Remember, Buto had only 2 strikeouts and 4 walks against that Oakland Athletics ball club.
Well, he threw 83 pitches in that game in Oakland. That's the most he had thrown in any start major or minor league this year. This will be number 90 now. Cruise fastball into Don Smith, nothing one. Thomas walked into a comeback for 1. 45 balls, 45 strikes, not recommended. Change up down. They're really spitting on that change up tonight.
Well, he hasn't been able to get it over. I mean, if you're observing on the sorry, Ron. No, in the dugout, you watch the pitcher, you're saying, okay, he's not getting that pitch over. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. He's got a lot of ex-teammates here, guys that played against him, maybe in AAA, maybe he has a tell on that pitch. Because you're right, they have taken it like they're not even offering.
That's a base hit for Dom. 2-out walk, and now a 2-out hit. This is why walking a guy with 2 outs is just a problem. Buto is getting to get out of the game. Yacobonis is coming in the game. Couldn't get out of the 5th inning with 2 outs. Walks, kill. Walks, kill. Got a call at first. Got the second guy out. You can't walk batters. It walks, kill. So 4 2/3 for Buto with 2 runs. Couldn't get through the 5th inning. Yacobonis is coming into the game to see if he can get out of the 5th. But it's a situation here where Josiah Gray is dealing right now. The Mets have no answer for Josiah Gray right now. Seems like the only hope is try to get that pitch count up with him and get the Nats bullpen, who's not good at all, and see if you can get through that bullpen there. But right now, Josiah Gray is dealing right now, and that's something that, unfortunately, when you got Alonso struggling 0 for 10 in his last 10 at-bats, Marte over the last couple of games have been really struggling. Nimmo's doing his job at the top of the order, but when you have Marte and Alonso and then Lindor, who's batting a little over 200, you have problems there. You ain't getting that many runs in, especially with the bottom of the order that's, not great. But then again, it's still halfway through the game. Yeah, Ken, exactly. The RBIs are good. Home runs 4, not bad. But his average, it just, nobody likes to talk about average. And average is not a big deal anymore in Major League Baseball. It's a huge deal for me because that just tells me, when you got a nice batting average or you got a decent batting average, shows me you put the bat on the ball more times than not. And I just don't like, like Lindor is already a high strikeout guy. And when you're batting under 250, you're clearly not putting the bat on the ball or having good contact on a ball. And that's something that I just don't understand why. That's why analytics is so stupid sometimes because nobody cares about average. Yet, everybody looks, look at the OPS and look at the home runs, look at the slugging and all that fun stuff. That's great and all. But I don't need you to hit the ball over the wall every single time there's a runner on base. And that's the situation that I just don't understand why average is not that important when it should be extremely important. All right. Jimmy Yacobonis is in a game with 2 outs, top of the 5th. 2-0 Nationals, 1st and 2nd. See if you can get out of this here. Lane Thomas at bat.
Nats left 3 on base in the 4th inning. They've got 2 aboard here in the 5th. And Thomas takes the fastball for a strike from Yacobonis. Jimmy, this looks like he's about to fall down. Legs.
That's part of his deception. He pitches a lot in size, touching the pitch count like he doesn't know what's going on. He can't hear you.
And pitch count malfunction is one of the reasons that umpires are allowed to stop the pitch clock.
And Brendan Miller will have to have some discretion here.
Or just gave Yacobonis his pitch count.
All the preparation that goes into a baseball game that the players do today, and so much more than our time previous. You think, work something out, like with Don Sutton, add some tracks. You don't have to have those stupid things in your head.
The Luddite.
All right, nice pitch, 0-2.
Well, the Mets bullpen is really safe because the starting pitching has.
Yeah, exactly, Ken. Everybody wants to robo him. So you don't think that's going to break down every now and then? God, just throw down fingers. Jesus.
Start with Ottavino and Robertson, who could bring to the end of the game, but everybody else has contributed as well, including guys like Yacobonis.
Ooh. Way outside. Good block by good way to keep that ball in front of him.
That's a heck of a play by Alvarez there. Remember, he's down on one knee. That ball was 6 feet outside. Maybe exaggeration.
There is no way to make that justification, Alexander. Another slider way outside.
Burns in the ballpark tonight. There he is. He's going to make his rehab start on Friday and hopefully pitch in his old haunts in Detroit sometime next week. That's right. Detroit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week.
Full count.
Breaking balls after getting ahead of 2, and he hasn't come close with any of them. So now the Marlins will be in motion. Ruiz and Smith.
Runners will be going.
Mets are 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight.
And he strikes him out with the fastball. And another threat stopped by Mets pitching. Still 2-0 Nationals, bottom 5. Yacobonis comes in with a little bit of trouble and gets the job done. Yacobonis, this guy is another guy that he throws strikes. I know, the sliders weren't there, but his fastball is electric. He doesn't throw a 98, 99, but it's got nice movement to it. Something that I like to see. And look, as much as we talk about, Smith and Robinson and Ottavino and those guys, and Raleigh, Santana, Yacobonis, Reyes, all those guys came up and actually had some really good games. And Yacobonis, I do think that the Mets do really like him, and he might be one of those guys that stick around, depending on if you need a roster spot. Unfortunately, he might be one of those guys that they have the option, so you'll probably go down. But those are guys that you like to see. Those are guys that if anybody struggles in the bullpen, you have somebody else to go to in the minors, and that's a big deal. Because, pitching rotations, pitching staffs change so much during the year with injuries and, double headers and just having 9 games in 10 days and stuff like that. That is something that I do think that, is going to be important down in the stretch here. Yeah, I know, Ken, but I get it. Like I don't like Dominic Smith. I don't like Drew Smith. I just don't trust him. It's a guy that we talked about this, Ken. He doesn't like to throw enough fastballs. He's got an electric fastball. He throws it up in the zone. Hitters can't hit it. Yet he'll go to that slider to the depth of him. Like, even if he's not throwing it for strikes, he still goes to that. And I think it kills him. If he throws his fastball, and me and Hayden talked about this on the Shade Bridge show yesterday, 68% of the time he throws his slider. I'm sorry. You can't throw it that much. Vogel back up, 2-0 Nationals.
And takes a fastball on the outside edge.
Bottom 5.
Vogelbach has one of the Mets' 2 hits. He pulled one over the first base bag and hit the jutting stance. It went for a single in the second. Well, last year, 38 home runs allowed, 66 walks allowed. Both those figures led the National League. When he gets the curveball on the first strike, it's 2. So everything working for him.
Last year, he looked like a deer in the headlights at times. Looks beautifully polished tonight.
Ooh, nice curveball. Josiah Gray is just killing it today. Well, Danny Murphy has nothing to do with Brett Beatty. And Danny Murphy was a good player, but just because he had a great postseason performance doesn't mean he was a great player or really good. He was a good hitter, yeah. But again, Beatty has nothing to do with Danny Murphy. And you can't look at 3 weeks of Brett Beatty in 2 years and say that conclusion, because that's just a dumb comment.
Just continue to do the work, the process of working as hard as you can to eliminate maybe the physical aspects, the mechanical aspects, because I knew if I could get all of that in the line, I could compete. I knew my competitive juices were high enough that if I took care of all those loose ends, I could get to a point where I could compete. I think this young man is in the same boat.
Hit on Beatty now, 1-2.
Good fastball that he runs away from left-handers. Good run to it.
It's interesting because tonight he's thrown his fastball a lot more than he's been throwing it in prior starts. His splits were almost quarter. Fastball, cutter, slider, curveball, about 25, 27%.
Hey, Griffin.
I think it's important for folks at home. You get the usage. But when you give you the usage, do you land the pitch? Like if you're throwing 35% fastball, but you're landing 30% of them, then that puts you in a nice place. And what I mean by that, puts you in pitcher's counts. So when you're in pitcher's counts, you can throw your pitch, which is on the corner or running away, out of the strike zone to make them fish.
Full count. Good at bat by Beatty. Get him back in the count.
Okay, 2-0. Many moves ago, I would challenge Brett Beatty. He's a rookie. He's new. Go after him. You got a 2-run lead. Does he do that?
Second 3-ball count of the night.
That is down the line. That's going to drop. Should be a double. Fair ball. That is a 1-out double by Beatty. There you go. Just hit the line. Fair ball. All right, runner in scoring position. Here we go.
Beatty has the first extra base hit for the Mets tonight. His first extra base hit of the season.
Good at bat by Beatty there.
Reline that.
Okay, at the bottom of the order can get something done here.
Position for Luis Guillorme. First time the Mets have had a runner to second base. Guillorme takes a fastball strike.
Liberated the McEnroe line there.
Is it the national one?
Actually, no.
Guillorme struck out his first time up.
More of an old-time motion. Watch, he stands pretty upright, but then he'll drop and drive. Watch those shoulders drop back and through. And that's where he gets that power. The shoulders and his core exposed. Strong kick.
1-2 to Guillorme. He takes a cutter inside. 1-2.
1 foot. Very rarely see. You can see it straight. You can see it close. You very rarely see it open towards first base. It takes a lot of strength in your feet, your ankles.
Ah, 2 outs.
You guys last night had a chance to watch Spencer Strider throw. Oh my goodness. His motion and where he ends up at the leg completely flipped right at the home plate. Almost like you can't do anything with Cruz.
All right, Alvarez coming up with 2 outs. Runner in scoring position.
13. He's had 9 or more strikeouts, 9 straight starts, and the history of the Braves all the way back to Boston. Nobody ever done that. And in fact, he's only 2 away from the big one. So now Francisco Alvarez tying run playing the 2-0 game. His first home run of the year Sunday night on a pitch pumping out of the strike zone. And he lays off the first pitch slider and stops it inside 1-0.
Got himself a high fastball here from the submariner. Right down the middle, boy. Submariners aren't easy. You don't face them, and they're tough.
That's really 1-1.
He doesn't get cheated.
A little way out in front of that pitch.
Beatty in second with 2 out.
Ground ball.
Slowly, tough play.
Going to be a tough play, and he's safe. Good hustle by Alvarez, and now Brendan Emo coming up. First and third. Come on. Alvarez got a little speed there.
He had a hard time on the exchange, too. He was kind of funky at the
good hustle on down the line.
Like to see the hustle there.
Base, give himself a better chance.
Come on, Brandon.
You're out of center up right now, Brandon Nimmo.
Tying runs on base, first and third, 2 out. Nimmo's 1 for 2 tonight. And Brandon takes a fastball out of the strike zone for ball 1.
So, a lot easier with the long hop, but still not an easy play.
80th third, Alvarez at first with 2 down. And Nimmo takes
All right, here we go.
There is 2 down.
First bit of trouble that real trouble protecting a 2-run lead for Gray here.
See if Nimmo jumps on the 2-0 pitch here.
Nimmo's 4 for 8 now against Gray with his hit tonight.
Good eye, 3-0. Here we go. You know, Josiah Gray, wouldn't be, in this situation, thinking that Marte's struggling, he might be pitching around Nimmo here. I know it's going to walk the bases loaded, but Marte is struggling.
Pitching coach looking on. Still have a green light here. Doesn't swing 3-0 off it.
Ball 4. All right, let's see what Marte does here. Big spot for Marte. Pitching coach coming out.
Good visit right here, Ronnie. Well, important visit's got to happen. What you have to do as a pitcher, he's had a good game, right? Beatty hit it.
Seems to me they were trying to pitch around Nimmo there to get to Marte. Marte's been struggling.
So, you can't lose any of your confidence. All 4 of those pitches, not one was close to the target that Ruiz gave. So, kind of lost his composure there. He'll try to regain it after he can visit against the talented Marte.
Marte's been struggling. 0 for 2 tonight. Just 6 RBIs for the season. He's hitting 200 with runners in scoring position.
And base hit here can most likely tie the game.
Mets have scored 6 runs, but they've only scored 2. And you can steal this game right here.
Like I said, this is a tough game. You cover this game across the West Coast for a week, 10 days.
Come on.
You need a spark. A base hit here will ignite the team.
80th third, Alvarez at second, Nimmo at first with 2 out. Marte tonight is grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. And Starling takes a strike. Fastball on the inside corner at the letter. Gray's had better success against Marte. He's just 1 for 8 against him. And he swings through that fastball.
Marte just struggling.
It's almost like Jim Hickey came out and said, listen, son, you've got a good fastball tonight. Don't be afraid to use it to get ahead. 2 straight fastballs gets him 0-2.
All right.
Swing on a pitch up out of the strike zone.
Held back that swing.
Three straight fastballs from Gray to start off Marte. 1-2 coming.
All right, that was a better swing at the fastball there. Staying alive.
That's getting action going in their bullpen. Gray having thrown 26 pitches for this inning, 81 for the night. Beatty at third, Alvarez at second, Nimmo at first with 2 out. 1-2 coming to Marte. And Starling
Nice. Took that slider. 2-2. There you go. A little bit better at bat by Marte here. Ball 3. All right. There we go. Runners will be going. Come on. And he struck him out. Went for a ball in the dirt to strike him out and get out of that jam. Great pitching by Josiah Gray. That was not a good pitch that Marte went after, but got him swinging to end the inning. Damn it. That was a and Ron Dolan called it. He's gonna go to that slider, and he did. Wasn't a good pitch, but struggling Marte continues to struggle there. Situation there where you got to protect the plate with 2 strikes, but way off on that slider there in the dirt, and Marte does not come through in the bottom of the 5th. Mets spoil an opportunity, the best opportunity of the night to get on the board and try to get back into this ball game, but they do not in the 5th. Top 6 coming up, 2-0 Nationals. Josiah Gray pitched a heck of a game and got out of the one tough jam that he had today and finished up his day. It looked like he's going to be done with in this game as well. Unfortunately, when you got a struggling batter at the plate in Marte, it's not fun in those situations there. Again, that wasn't a pitch that Marte usually would go after. He's more disciplined than that, but he's struggling right now, trying to do some damage there and just probably looking for something else and got fooled on that slider there, and the ball was not close. And that's the outcome that we have. Yeah, I know. Josiah Gray was actually struggling with those strikes the last couple of at bats. So, damn. No, Teddy. It's kind of like with the pitch comms, it's going back and forth to catcher pitcher, and where the middle infielders that have the pitch comm. I don't know if they're calling the pitches at all. To be honest with you, I mean they might be. I haven't really noticed that, but still, I mean, again, you got to throw strikes. I don't care who's calling the pitches. Yacobonis is still in the ball game. Top 6, 2-0 Nationals.
It was over 2, grounded out, reached on there. Strike. Acquired from the Padres, the Juan Soto deal last summer. See another key piece of that trade tomorrow night when they face left-hander Mackenzie Gore.
Going to be another tough pitcher on the mound tomorrow, Mackenzie Gore, lefty. That was the big prospect for the Padres, pitching prospect that was in the Soto deal.
Mackenzie Gore starting tomorrow. C.J. Abrams at shortstop. Keeper Ruiz behind the plate.
Was that correct?
Yeah.
That's why you trade the veterans away to try and.
Strike 3, nice pitch by Yacobonis. 1 out. Yeah, Jay, but you know what? The Mets have been good this year against bad teams, right? They've actually played very well. Phillies getting beat up again, 5-2. You said is on the IL, Mark. He does, Mark. He does.
Slider, and it's 1-1. Showed the numbers on the Nats early on tonight about how aggressive they are at the plate.
That's a base hit.
Robles tracked down by Marte, and Robles is on with a 1-out single. Robles kind of epitomizes that. He's number 1 to hit the majors and swinging at the first pitch. Even though he didn't at 52% of the time.
This pitch right there, away. But they haven't been able to do that with the ducks on the pond, Gary. And this game could very easily be 6-0 if they get any kind of clutch hitting.
That's close to 8 on base over the first 5 innings. Here's out the call up for the 4th time. Fly out, walked twice against Buto. Jose Buto, 4 2/3 innings, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 walks, 1 strikeout, and a home run. So his first two starts with long
All right, come on.
down 3, which is not formula for long-term success. But he kept his team in the game tonight. Over those 4 2/3.
Oh.
The Army was going the wrong way. Robles from first to third. We saw this happen in San Francisco over the weekend. I think it was Tyro Estrada playing shortstop for the Giants. Guillorme breaking to his right on a ball that was hit to his left.
And he's very angry with himself. That one, oh, did he break the ball right? Wow.
Wow.
Wow, that is something you never
That's a
see
double play ball out of the inning.
from this guy. Just such a steady glove. He broke before contact. Usually you break after contact.
So first and third, Luis Garcia, the batter. Well, we've now seen that happen twice in less than a week. So what makes that happen? Is that just anticipating a particular pitch?
Well, it was a sinker down and in, two-seamer down and in. So maybe he thinks or anticipates pull off the bat of Al's call.
No, Mark. Guillermo just took steps before the ball was even hit. I don't know what happened there.
This throws one low and in, ball and strike.
Nope, should have been out of the inning. Second time in the ball game, defense caused the inning to not be over.
Robles leading off the bag at third, call not too big of a lead off first. That's not steal a lot of bases yet. Ramones steps off to look call back. Ball has 1 steal in 3 tries this year. Scenario earlier with call at first where Butu had thrown over twice and he did not run on the next pitch. And yet bonus feeds a fastball that first strike and it's 1-2.
So Garcia was taking that pitch and I called run. I don't know what was going on.
Can't do that. It's a big run on third base. Well, once they're looking for a break ball.
Garcia grounded out with the bases loaded in the fourth. He's 1 for 15 now with runners in scoring position. Got the bonus ahead of 1-2. We have a change up and it's 2-2. Lario waiting on deck.
It's a big inning here. Try to keep this to 2 here. And he swung. Oh, what? You got to be kidding me. Huh. No, he didn't go.
No, but everything in his body went. It's just the fact that yes.
All right, big pitch here. Good job by Alvarez calling the timeout. Pitch clock was at 1, so it would have been a ball 4 there. Pitch clock violation. Good job by Alvarez noticing that.
Smart play by the youngster.
He's played with the pitch clock longer than certainly most of these guys. See the pitch clock's down to 3-2. Season's going to be in
Good job by Alvarez.
He should know because he's given the signs on the pitch clock is common, and he knows it was getting delivered on time.
Now 3-2 to Garcia. Call at first. Robles leading at third. Call is running. And Garcia smacks one deep in the gap at right center field. Headed back toward the wall and off the fence. Robles is in. Call around third. He gets home. Guillermo's relay throw not in time. It's a 2-1 double.
4-0 Nationals.
That's double their lead. It's now 4-0
Well,
Washington.
one difference tonight. Big hits with the Nationals. Wasn't a bad pitch. Went out and got that pitch.
Slightly above the belt. This is a heck of a relay from VENMO to Guillorme to home.
Guillorme gets rid of it so quickly.
Well, bad defense caused this to be part of the inning that turned into 2 runs here.
That's now with a 4-run lead. And Guillorme's throw had been a little more online. He might have had a chance for it.
But that ground ball to second base that Guillorme went the wrong way on could have been an inning and a double play, and this would have never happened. But
2 doubles, 2021 for the Tigers.
Mets defense last couple of games have not looked good.
Steeper hill to climb. The question is now, is Josiah Gray going to go back out there for the Nats after that very difficult inning?
Strike 3, 2 outs.
Third strikeout for Yacobonis in the second out of the inning.
Twice now, C.J. Abrams and now Candelario. Been able to throw that ball that starts to head, comes back over the inside corner. Perfect pitch.
Julie Meneses is 2 for 3 tonight. Single twice, drove in a run. One is tries the inside corner. This is ball 1. Meneses last year played in 56 games after his call up at age 30. Hit 324 with 13 home runs and 222.
Well, that's exactly it, Ken.
Real feel-good stories of 2022.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to struggle. You know, you're going to have slumps. Problem is, like Ken just said, 2 through 4 is struggling. And, you know, that's the majority of your offense. You know, you can't count, oh, that's a ground ball. That's up the middle, and that's going to score the 5th run of the ball game. Big 2-out hitting for the Nationals.
Spot just beyond the reach of Lindor. Lindor has a long way to go for this.
Slow ground ball sneaks through the middle.
Ramifications of the new shade and not being able to play the shift is that ball up the middle has now become a base hit again.
Which David Ruiz will open the scoring with a home run of the second inning. So the Nats coming off a series victory in Minnesota, their first series win of the year. Looking to take the opener of the series tonight in their first meeting of the season with the Nats. He's 1 for 2 and a walk with that home run back in the second. And he smacks.
That's a base hit. Racking up hits for the Nationals today.
5th into the inning for the Nats against Jimmy Yacobonis.
It's a breaking ball, and he turns on it. It's just gets it inside, but it's kind of a slow breaker. He's able to get the barrel of the bat out.
Hefner's going to the mound to speak to Yacobonis. Again, you know, you can kill the pitchers here in this situation, but I mean, that ground ball that should have been in and a double play just turned into a big inning for the Nationals. 3 runs in this inning. Ken, I actually have. You haven't been paying attention, buddy. There'll be nobody left in the chat if I do that, buddy. Muttley, I wouldn't be happy either if I'm freezing my ass off tonight.
Smith be the 8th man up in the inning. Ray is walking a single in his first game back at Citi Field.
Signs will be given by Alvarez. Checking against exactly.
Just linked pitch block. Yeah. Meneses second, Ruiz at first, and that one gets away from Alvarez, and the runners move on.
Well, that was a cross up.
Ball charged to Alvarez. Not sure what happened to him. Cross up?
Well, I think what happened, now I'm speculating here, is that he called the pitch. Then he went out to get the signs out in front of the plate, and then came back behind the plate to catch the pitch. And in that time, he might have forgotten or thought he called the breaking ball, not the fastball.
Does that actually happen? Well, it happens sometimes. Very rare, but it happens.
Defense is just lost today in this ball game.
Things gone wrong for Yakubonis in this inning. 3 runs are home. And this is a fastball. It's 4-1. Disrespect for one high-speed hitting tonight came from Ruiz as the hardest hit ball of the night, right behind him.
Popped it up, should end the inning. It's going to be a tough play for McNeil. Going to get there in time to end the inning, but not before. The defense, very disappointing to give the Nationals a big inning here. 3 runs in the 6th, make it 5-2. I know, I don't know what the hell Guillermo was thinking there, but he moved before the ball was hit. I don't even know what to say. I play baseball in my life, and I have no idea what he was doing there. The runner on first wasn't going to second. I can understand him going to second base to be the cover guy, to cover second base, but the runner wasn't going. So there was really no need. I know trying to get a first step, you'll see, if you know what pitches come in and you think it's going to be low and outside, that's when he can move over a little. But I don't understand moving before the ball is actually hit. I mean, that's a ground ball right to the second baseman, and he would have been out of that inning, and then the Mets would have been up by now. So. Yeah, KTU, but again, the hell with Vogelback and anybody else in this lineup, right? Everybody wanted Beatty, everybody wanted Alvarez. They're hitting under 200. So, like I told everybody else, you wanted these kids to come up. This is a championship type of season where you have to, the Mets have aspirations of trying to win in the championship here. You can't bring up these kids and play, let's see what they can do. Let them work their kinks out. You can't do that when you're trying to win ball games, all right? Beatty and Alvarez are hitting under 200, yet they're hitting, they were hitting 400. They're hitting over 250 points less. That's not helping this team, all right? The power that Alvarez and Beatty are showing in the minors is non-existent. 1 home run between the both of them, all right? So, again, when your 2 through 4 hitters are struggling, you need a little bit of help from everybody else, but you're not getting it from everybody else right now.
Beatty got into his first jam of the 5th inning and managed to extricate himself.
Andre Beatty is not hitting 260. He's hitting under 200.
He's thrown as many as 103 in a game already this year. He gets 3, 4, and 5 in the Mets order: Lindor, Alonso, and McNeil.
Popped it up.
Abrams tracking it toward the line.
Oh.
To Paul, who
1 out.
perhaps was calling for it, but Abrams sent it all the way.
Oh boy, smacked him right on the side of the ear.
You're right. You're right.
Last year, so I remember playing left field. Just being Lonzo.
That's on me.
Below the knees ball. He's been up twice, struck out both times tonight.
I thought I saw 160. That's Alvarez. 170.
Tommy Ben? No, he was sure.
Yes.
Yes, so again, you're replacing guys that, weren't hitting either. So again, Jake, not all the time. Again, losing this ball game doesn't mean the Mets are going to lose the series, right? You can come back and win 2 out of 3 still. So again, still a couple innings left. Not looking pretty, but Lonzo hits one right to the right fielder, 2 outs.
Impressive start by this young man. Mason Thompson gets up and that's least half the season. Doolittle, who they re-signed, who's also hurt.
And McNeil hits a shot to right field, but it's going to stay in. Just stayed in the ballpark and makes the out to end the inning. Mets do not get anything going in the sixth. Top of the seventh. 5-0 Nats. Yeah, committee, I understand that, but the Nationals were not trading Juan Soto to the Mets. All right, it's just not happening. Right? The owner came out and said it. The GM came out and said it. They weren't trading him. So, again, it's not like Juan Soto was doing anything with the Padres. I mean, he's been terrible. So, I don't see where, it's like he's batting 350. All right? Here's the problem, right? You bring up everybody wanted the kids to come up, right? Why aren't people bitching about Alvarez and Beatty? Look, again, that was my fault. Beatty is batting 260. But we're not having problems getting on base, right? If Beatty's batting 260, that means he's getting on base, right? So the problem isn't getting on base. The problem is driving in runs. Alvarez and Beatty batting over 400, 350 for one, 400 for the other, showing all this power. They come to the big leagues, they're not doing nothing, right? Where's the power? This is what the team needs. That's what I keep on talking about with people that just want to bring up these kids. We don't need more people getting on base. We need run producers. Beatty and Alvarez are supposed to be that guys. I don't want to hear, they're not getting enough playing time. They're not getting enough playing time. You get opportunities, you get the job done, all right? I don't want to hear it anymore. It comes to the point. Now, do you want these guys to be batting 7th and 9th? No. But at the same time, you're getting opportunities, get the job done, all right? I'm sorry. Alvarez is supposed to be this big power hitter. He has 1 home run and batting under 200. Beatty averaged decent, not bad, but he's basically batting 150 points less than in the minors. So that already, all right, I don't mind 260 in the majors. That's okay with me. But where's the run production? Where's the power that we've seen in spring training and in the minors? If you're not getting the run producing from these guys, then nothing's changing with this lineup, even though they've been scoring runs. All right, here we go. Top of the 7th, 5-0 Nationals. Yeah, Jay, I agree. But again, Pete Alonso, Lindor, and Amarte can't be hot for the entire season. They're going to struggle. You need other guys to pick you up, right? Everybody wanted Beatty and Alvarez. They're not even close to what they were doing in the minor leagues. We need run producers. Ground ball should be 1 out, and it is. Well, I'm not going to call Alvarez a huge bust yet because every step of the minors, every top bar he got to, the next league, he started off slow and then he started to get hot. So let's see if that trends in major leagues. But we'll see. See, I'm not saying Beatty's doing bad right now, but what the Mets need, Beatty's not providing. Beatty's getting on base, great. And who's bringing him in? Nito? Alvarez? That's the problem. And this ball is a shot to left field. Should be easy for McNeil, and it is. 2 outs. Well, Stezzo, he was the number 1 overall prospect last year. Well, Ken, I mean, it is 5-0. I get it, but Buck's not going to use the bullpen to keep this game any closer. I'll tell you that.
Let's have action again. Their bullpen. Ray had a 10-pitch 6th inning. He's thrown 91 pitches.
Again, if you look at it, Yacobonis is not pitching bad. The defense the last 2 innings really cost the Mets there.
Staying busy in the bullpen, so we'll see what Dave Martinez has in mind. Robles 6-1. 2-0.
Sorry, Gary. Robles is holding his hands very low before the ball comes. Like Gene Segura a little bit. Also reminds me of I will not be temper. That's how Bobby Bonds used to hold his bat in his hands.
Father of Barry, of course, screwed himself right to the ground with that swing. He hurt himself. No. Just a little embarrassing, I think. Oh, down goes Robles.
Exactly
Down
what
goes Robles.
exactly what McNeil.
Two out and nobody on. Yacobonis looking for a bounce back inning. And this is inside.
Ball three.
Robles,
Wait, what?
He thinks it's ball four. Did it hit? Yeah, I think it did. Yes, it hit him.
All right, the ball might have hit him.
Let's look. Buck's been shaking his head quite a bit tonight.
Not that Robles, he didn't try to get out of the way, kind of leaned into it. See that move with his right arm?
Just tipped him.
Could have put him back in the box.
Just got him on the top. There it is, right there. Funny to see here. Rest my case.
And it was a small cheer.
Robles takes off. Alvarez from his knee.
Oh.
The ball dropped by Guillorme. I think he would have been safe anyway.
Nice throw by Alvarez,
His first stolen base of the year.
but Guillermo didn't hold on to it. But I think he would have been safe anyway.
Come in feet first with your cleats and a healthy slide. Guillermo's not going to put his leg down there in front of the bag like that. You can get cut up.
Check that's the fourth stolen base of the year for Robles, so he's in scoring position. Rollins call him. Who takes a strike one.
Judah, that's a silly comment. How are we not a contender? We're a game and a half out of first place. Technically in a playoff spot right now. I mean, you can't say we're not a contender. This is basically the same team as last year, lineup wise, and we were a contender.
Play ball, the inning's over with nobody scoring.
Nice play by Beatty. And Pete doesn't scoop it, and the inning continues. Nice play by Beatty. Somewhat of a bad throw, but Alonso didn't pick that. It was, he had to make that throw quickly. Nice play.
Nice range to his left, Beatty's left.
It was a long hop,
It's always the tough low guy.
but hit the grass, and Alonso couldn't scoop that one. Tough hop.
This time at night, coming off the grass, it skids a bit.
On his way out to the
All right, Yacobonis is coming into the ball game. First and third, 2 outs. And Tommy Hunter is coming into the ball game. Yeah, it's just, the talk about we're not contenders. We're 5 games over 500. We're a game and a half behind the Braves, and basically in a playoff position. Look, guys. You're allowed to have a bad game. Like, I just don't understand people. Like, you don't pay 162 crisp ball games, all right? Find me a team that does that. None of them. The defense has been atrocious the last 3 or 4 games. We were really good last year. Actually, Judah, that's a stupid comment as well. 2015 Mets team wasn't a very good team at all. They were terrible in the first half. Better in the second half. They got hot at the right time, just like the Braves did, just like the Nationals, just like the Phillies did the last couple of years. All right, the 2015 Mets couldn't even shine the shoes of last year's teams or even this year's team. All right, we won, 91 games that year? I mean, let's be honest. It's not even close. You're looking at the overall result. Don't look at the overall result, because that's just a situation where you're going to say, you compare rosters, it's not even close. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 23 games in, 24 games in or not. The fact of the matter is, this team has scored over 5 runs per ball game this year. And if you look at the games, it has been, the starting pitchers haven't been going deep. That's been a problem. So you've been using more bullpen. Also, the defense has been really causing problems because 2 times in this game already, the Mets should have been out of innings that caused the Nationals to be getting runs. No, Judah, it's seriously. Danny Murphy didn't do nothing all year until the playoffs. Wilmer Flores was garbage until he hit that home run against the Nationals, was about to get traded. Duda is a joke. Do you forget Duda making that throw in the World Series? You remember Cespedes being a no-show in the World Series or in the playoffs for that matter? Come on. But let's not make 2015, were the 2021 Braves better than the 2022 Braves? No. Results, yes. Like, we got to stop glorifying teams that weren't that good. They got hot at the right time, guys. We talk about this all the time about getting hot at the right time. Look, you can be upset about this game, but don't make asinine comments that don't make no sense.
Two innings, 6 hits, charged with 3 runs so far, and responsible for 2 more.
Well, I'm shocked, Ken. There should be nobody in the chat, according to you.
Sales up and away, 2-1 to Garcia.
Yeah, it's so. The offense was non-existent. No, where was Murphy in the first half of? Where was Murphy at all for the most part in 2015 until the playoffs? Popped it up. Might stay in play. See if Beatty can stay and come. Wow, that wind blew that out. Shouldn't the Philly, were the Phillies better this year or last year? You're going to look at the results only? They made the World Series, but they should be better this year, no? But right now they're not. Yeah, but committee, I understand that. He carried us through the playoffs. We understand that. But again, you can also get hot at the right time, right? Trent Grissom played extremely well in the playoffs last year. He basically beat the Mets on his own. Ground ball should end the inning. And it does, going to the bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Nationals. That's the only thing you got to understand too, guys. You have to look at the overall situation. You can't just look at, the Mets made the World Series. Okay, the Phillies made the World Series in late August. They were one of the worst defensive teams, and they weren't even in a playoff spot in late August. Well, you just lost badly. That's it. You just lost. That's the way it is, right? The Braves were a better team last year than they were in 2021. They didn't even get out of the first round. The Dodgers, right? Everybody, the darling of the National League, the best team in the National League. They got knocked out in the first round. What was their excuse, right? They were better. They had better rosters than everybody, the Braves and the Dodgers. They ended up playing one more game than the Mets. So what does that tell you? If you get hot at the right time, you can go far in the playoffs. Doesn't matter about your roster because the Phillies had one of the worst bullpens and the worst defensive teams in all of baseball last year, and they got to the World Series. Tell me how that makes sense. Again, you could say, what if we don't get to the second round? But how didn't we get to the second round? Right? Nothing went well in the wild card game against the Padres, right? The offense didn't show up. The pitching didn't show up. What if the offense shows up in the playoff game, in the playoff series, but the pitching doesn't show up? So you can criticize the pitching. The problem with last year in the wild card, the whole team didn't show up. That's the problem. Because it's usually one thing, right? The Phillies, it's not like they pitched well in the playoffs because they did it. They gave up a ton of runs, but you know what they did? They scored a lot of runs as well. But guess what? They were one-dimensional, and that's why they lost the World Series. They got to the World Series, but as soon as they stopped hitting home runs, they had no answer because they were one-dimensional. The Astros were a little bit more 2 or 3-dimensional. They actually got the big hits. And that is the difference, guys. You know, we act like the best teams in baseball are winning World Series here. They're not. Like, let's not act like every team in baseball that's the best team is winning World Series here. You know, the Astros were one of the best teams in baseball, but the Dodgers were one of the best teams in baseball. All right, bottom of the seventh, 5-0 Nationals. Well, Judy, you can go ahead. But that same team you talked about, minus Cespedes, was one of the worst offensive teams in baseball prior to the deadline. Ground ball should be 1 out.
Yeah, I get it. Not a great day to be beer right now. The San Francisco Giants used to have Burgermeister beer and Hams. They were their spots. 1 amp or 2 amps? 2 amps.
Beatty, who doubled down left field line his last time up. Quite a story for Josiah Gray. 6 innings, no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, 91 pitches, and in line for his first victory of the season. Single away from Thompson, 1-1.
And you know, Judah, the 2016 Mets were very similar to the 2015 roster. Why didn't they get past the wild card game?
Just days ago in Minnesota, struck out 4 in 2 1/3 innings.
There was injuries, absolutely,
Their bullpen's been a real bright
But
spot this year.
they didn't get far.
24 games last year because of biceps issues, but pitched well when he was available, and he's off to a terrific start this year. Throws a fastball by Beatty, 2-2.
Over half of his appearances have been 2 innings or more for Thompson so far in the season.
And Beatty strikes out 2 outs.
Away. That's 10 strikeouts for Nationals pitchers tonight.
Must be nice bringing up prospects if you're the Phillies and the Braves and they actually pan out, right? It seems like the Braves and the Phillies bring up their guys and they hit the ground running. Mets prospects, not much.
Long West Coast road trip. Mets have certainly looked like they've been mired in mud most of the night.
They've been flat. It's a tough game. And even if you're, I always played, but even if you're on the bench, you just feel flat. It just takes that 48 hours to get back on that Eastern time. Mike Torres told me that if you're pitching on the Tuesday, after the day off coming from the West Coast, do not go to bed when you get home. Stay up till 8 or 9 o'clock that night and then go to bed. Like don't go to bed at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning when you get home. Sleep till noon, go have lunch or whatever, then fall asleep again. Said try to stay up.
And did you ever try that?
I did. Mike was gold for me. Anything he said, I listened to.
And did it work out?
Yeah, I felt great. And, on the Tuesday, it didn't always work out pitching because that's the rub of the green, but always felt great going into the game. I didn't feel flat.
Mark, I mean, I know what Ron and Keith, they played the ball game. Strike 3. That was a quick inning for the 7th. 5-0 Nationals going to the top of the 8th. Yeah, again, it does suck going West Coast to East Coast. I get it. They had a day off, and it whatever. I don't like those type of excuses. Get the job done. You're Major League Baseball players. It's not like you've never done this before. But, if you want to use that as an excuse, go ahead, but I'm not going to do that. It's a shit game. That's the way I can see it. Yeah, Marlene, losing to the Nats. The Twins did the same thing, 2 out of 3. Exactly, Mark. Again, any excuse you got to bring. Again, it's not like the Mets didn't have opportunities to get back into this ball game, okay? And I'm sorry, it's not like you had to wait on line in security, get your checked bags. You're on a charter, all right? People pick up your bags for you. People bring you food. People kiss your ass, and you're on a charter flight. Tom, well, yeah, I could say it's an early season funk. Yeah, this can be the 3 games in a row if the Mets lose this ball game. The second 3-game losing streak of the season. It's not pretty. But when your 2 through 4 hitters are not doing the job, you need other guys to pick you up. That's why you got Beatty and Alvarez here too, right? They're supposed to be guys that are supposed to be run producers as well. You just got to get out of it. It's not pretty right now. But, that is baseball. Every year you're going to get through a funk. You're going to get through a slump. You just hope that 3 or 4 of your guys are not getting in the slump at the same time. Right now, it seems your 2 through 4 hitters are in the biggest slump of the season so far early on. It happens. You just have to fight through it. Again, when losing the Nationals game, it's not the end of the world. Come back and win the next 2, then you face the Braves. So we're going to the top of the 8, 5-0 Nationals.
Now we'll see if a comeback is in the cards.
People are not happy. Do you want to have a funk in September or you want to have a funk in April? The Mets didn't have a funk until September.
No, the scorecard lets you off.
Got a good out tonight. And that cutter inside the Candelario 2-0. Candelario 0 for 3 and 1. So we're talking about how well the Pirates were playing. 7 straight wins. High fly ball to right, and Marte barely has to move. Candelario retired 1 out, so Pirates were up 7-2 on the Dodgers tonight. The Dodgers came back. Chris Taylor to 3.
Well, Judah, that's kind of stupid because the 2006 Mets didn't make the World Series, and the 2015 Mets lost the World Series.
Winning streak snapped by the Red Sox, 8-6. Baltimore was down 8-1 going to the bottom of the ninth, and then made a game. Jared Grant, 4 RBIs.
Oh, David, thank you for tuning in on Twitch, buddy. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Boston's over 500. Everybody in that division's over 500.
I'm glad Twitch is actually bringing in some viewers. I appreciate that, David.
Better be.
Yeah, no, Twitch isn't big on baseball.
Joey Meneses to 3 for 4 and a couple of RBIs tonight. Honda Sports Night.
Yeah, the 99 Mets were better than 2015 and 2006. They didn't even make the World Series. So, we get too caught up in one game and say, oh, this team is not better than this team. Okay, might be true, might not be.
You have to pretend to be surprised.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Really? That happened? Crazy. Strike 3 call.
Strike 3, 2 outs.
Down looking at a slider.
I just thought that was down.
Preferred the call for Brennan.
Well, Mariners fan there. Well, thank you for beating up the Phillies.
Separate cage for Aaron Rodgers.
Filler number 8.
Yeah, David. Well, at least you got over the hump last year. You might get over the hump again this year.
Joe Willie said, yeah,
He could wear 8.
And that's a base it up the middle.
Oh, 12. I was going to say, what did Gary
Correct,
Ruiz
Joe.
eight? He said for Ruiz's 3rd hit of the night.
And Rodgers rightfully so said, absolutely not.
Good. Good on him. Nobody wears number 12.
Well, how incredible were they? They lost to the Cardinals. They didn't make the World Series.
Here's Tom Smith, 1 for 3 and a walk tonight.
Judah, what you got to stop doing is comparing teams because history does not matter. I don't know if you don't understand that, but history does not matter.
Been good. They've been kind of a pitcher's friend. He calls strikes.
You got to get over that fact.
And that's grounded toward the hole. Guillorme.
Nice play by Guillorme, and that ends the inning. Going to the bottom of the 8th. See if the Mets can do some type of rally here in the final 2 innings to try to get back into this ball game before close up shop and lose the first game of the homestand. Well, you see, when you start comparing seasons, it's annoying. I know fans love to do that, but it freaking does not matter, guys. You got to get through that. You got to get that through your head. 2006 doesn't matter with 2022. 2023 doesn't matter with 2022. right? Because if it did, the Braves would have won in 2022, right? That's how it goes. If 2020 mattered to the Nationals, they should have won 2020, right? It does not matter. Yeah, they absolutely. The 06 team, look, I love that 06 team. That was right in the middle of my teen years, right? I love that team. But what does that matter right now today? You know what I mean? That's the problem that people got to get over. How about focusing in on this team? What can this team do better? What can this team do? What can our GM do at the deadline? Right? Worry about this team. 06 players are not helping this 2023 team. You know, that's what I don't understand. And that's why it frustrates me when guys bring up the past. Fuck the past, guys. All right? Do the 98 Yankees mean anything to the 2022, the 2023 Yankees? No. You know what they did? They actually beat teams without actually talking about rings. All right? It doesn't matter. Right? The 90s Braves were a hell of a lot more better than the 2021 Braves, but they actually have a ring as well. And all the years of the 90s, the Braves did so well, they have one championship to show for it. Right? You can't continue to talk about the past when it means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't. Bottom of the 8th, Alvarez leading off in 9-1-2 for the Mets. Well, Mark, that's if the Angels trade him.
Infield single in the 5th. It's been hard pressed to come up with any offense tonight. They had one big chance. That was in the
You know, where are the people that were dying to get these prospects up? Why aren't you killing them? They're a part of this team now, aren't they? And that was a quick yep. There goes your prospect. Unfortunately, there's not a quadruple A for these guys to play.
Presented by Mets PreGame. The total runs was set at 8.5 right now. That number is down to 6 runs with just a little time to go in the game. And guys, thus ends my most productive and thought-provoking night in my 10 years on the job.
Let's see, we've had you ice cold. We've had you giving us the runs line.
I'm all about the promos tonight.
Yeah, you were ice cold from watching those Rangers last night. That's why you're ice
Rob,
cold.
we almost got through a whole night.
So let me ask you, since you have this side job in the fall, are you going to be part of the Aaron Rodgers coverage tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I am all Mets. Aaron Rodgers is at 2 o'clock. We got to be here a little while after that, so I'm all Mets tomorrow.
I understand that, Mark,
Sadly,
but
fellas, you'll be without me on Thursday.
when you're trying to win a championship and you got championship aspirations, you can't let's see what they do because it can cost you ball
By the way,
games.
Gary, you read that promo enough for tomorrow. You should know that I am not one of the names listed.
Because, Jay, here's the problem that I have. Everybody want to bitch and moan about bringing these prospects up. Do the job, all right? You're getting your opportunities. Do the job, right? Why do the Braves, why do the Phillies bring these guys up and they hit the ground running and our prospects basically are running through mud? But nobody complains about that. When everybody was clamoring, go back to my streams a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And Nimmo strikes out again. They had at bats all around for the Mets.
Well, one thing to look at is watch where his hand goes. No delay right up to the ear.
Jay, we're not terrible fans. We're realistic fans. Do the freaking job, right? You know, Harris came up for the Braves right away, started producing, basically helped them change their season last year. We're not getting it from our prospects, any of them. We had Vientos up, no show. Beatty came up last year, doing okay, but then got hurt. Came up this year, not doing much. Same thing with Alvarez. Like, it's just killing me. Well, committee, according to everyone, they're supposed to be better than Harris. Beatty and Alvarez were well ahead of Harris, top overall prospects in baseball. So it makes no sense. And Marte, that's a ground ball, and that ends the inning. So a slow, uneventful 8th inning, top of the 9th, Nationals 5, Mets nothing. And that's the problem that I keep on having. Has nothing to do with terrible fans. You're allowed to criticize, all right? You're allowed to criticize these prospects. Yeah, and listen, the Mets have no pitching prospects to call for, but yeah, absolutely, Mark. It's just a matter of look around the league. Look at the prospects coming up all around baseball, not just the Braves and Phillies. Jay, I understand that, but don't criticize Escobar and Nito. And people criticize Nito like he's a starting catcher. He's a backup catcher. We all know he sucks. But what are we not going to criticize Beatty and Alvarez because they're our prime jewels in our system? No, do the freaking job. This team is trying to win a championship, right? You're not trying to see how these guys do because at the end of the day, if they don't do their job, guess who's coming back in this lineup? Escobar and Nito, and probably Michael Perez in the minors once he gets on the 40-man. That's the problem. And that's what I told people prior to these guys coming up. They better perform because they got options. They don't perform, they're going back down to AAA. I'm letting you know that right now. Not saying that they're going to be bad prospects. They can still turn out well. But you're trying to win right now. You can't afford to let them play and see what happens. Because July comes around, August comes around, and then when you're 10 games behind the Braves and trying to fight for a wild card spot, where are you going to? I'm sorry. Beatty was batting over 400. Great. You got a 250 average now. Great. Wonderful. But we're looking for run producers, right? This is what this team needed. We didn't need more on-base guys. Well, they might be. Yeah, Judah, but I know you keep on bringing up Daniel Murphy, but that has nothing to do with Daniel Murphy. All right? I bring up Leslie Millers all the time. Leslie Millers was one of the top prospects in baseball. He was a bust. Not saying these guys are going to be a bust, but if they're not ready, they're not ready. I'm sorry, you can't hit 400 in the minors and bat 250 and no power when you were raking in Major League in the minors and have no power to show for in Major League Baseball. That makes no sense.
A lot of that has to do with his changeup, and a lot of it has to do with the cutter that he's
Correct, Ken.
developed. And the cutter was a pitch that really eluded Ottavino throughout the course of his career. He tried to play
No, Jay, but the same people who wanted these guys up, like, do you just want them to continue to do bad and not do anything and just continue to be bad in this lineup? And the production we were supposed to get from them, we're not getting from them.
What do you mean you think cutter? He said, I don't know how to describe it. I just think cutter. And Ottavino said,
yeah, Kelenick's looking good, but again,
by recognizing what Davis meant, which is basically just throw your full-seam fastball and hold that grip for a half second longer, basically just a beat to make sure that the.
I agree, Jay, but it is his opportunity. He's going to be here for 2 months. Like, I'm sorry, you're batting 350 in the minors. You can't bat under 200. That's a joke. I'm sorry. I mean, he's fighting Escobar with batting average. Like, come on.
That ball will come off the middle finger and not both fingers. And if that pressure is correct on that middle finger, it has to cut.
Very interesting. Sounds like Uri Geller bending spoon.
There you go. It's almost like visualization.
Yeah,
right, Ron?
yeah.
Ground ball.
Out of Yormich right there to sweep up.
Should be 1 out in this.
Well, I guess visualization and manifestation. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. But then again, you look at it this way. Well, what happens if we didn't have Diaz, right, last year? How many less games would we have won,
The shape of the pitch. I don't know if they teach that at Driveline.
Well, how about the run that Wade Davis had? So I would listen to whatever he had to say for that 5-6 year run.
So you figure out a way to make the body cooperate. Here's C.J. Abrams is 0 for 4 tonight, and takes a slide alone in for ball one. So we're talking about the Mets maybe
Exactly, Judah.
back to the West Coast. Keith's had a little something going on with him tonight. Here, a little cough here, a little clearing of the throat there. Are you okay?
I actually,
April.
Well,
change the
I know
climate.
everybody would like that, but I honestly don't care about the Yankees at all, to be honest with you.
Sinus infection. I got a sore throat, and I'm not feeling on top of it here.
Lindor gets in front of the ground ball.
But
And gets Abrams. Now, did I hear something about the wrong socks?
I flew home on the flight, which was really wasn't a lot of tailwind because it was less than 5 hours in San Francisco, and I didn't wear warm socks, and I was freezing. My feet were frozen on the whole flight. No one cares about this.
Yeah, how is Pete Crow Armstrong doing? Not as good as Beatty and not as good as Alvarez in the minor leagues. Not as good as Vientos. Not as good as Ronnie Mauricio. I don't care about what they do in the minor leagues. Kelnick's actually doing pretty well. But again,
Maybe you got stuck in the back of the plane. I mean, that could have happened.
I knew I was in for trouble. I was just my feet were frozen the whole flight.
well, Judah, should you kept J.D. Davis last year when he didn't do anything?
Get better by tomorrow because, you got to be able to snap out of it and get up to speed.
I was on the West Coast. It's a flat day for me.
What a tune out of Robles. Robles has been on base twice tonight with a single and a hit by pitch, and he fights that one off.
Robles just keeps swinging and going down on his back knee. It's about the 4th or 5th time he's done it today.
He's thinking it worked for Adrian Beltre. He's going to the Hall of Fame one of these days. Bounces the slider. So another long winning streak came to an end. Tampa Bay had won 6 straight. They got shut
Well, I don't know
out
if
by-
JD didn't want to be there. He got traded. It's not like he had a choice.
14-0 at home.
They had 14-0 at home. They're now 14-1. They got the modern major league record for longest home winning streak to start the season. And the slider just missed outside 3-2.
What was the Tigers start in '84? Was it 35-5?
Yeah. So they're now 20-4. So they'd have to go 14-1 just to match that. Imagine that. That's the start they've already had.
Hopped it up, should end the inning.
Lindor retreating. Stays with it all the way.
And the Mets get last licks in the bottom of the ninth. Lindor, Alonso, McNeil down by 5 runs. Can the Mets show any life in this ball game to try to come back? Well, yeah, committee, I understand that. But if the Mets didn't trade him, it's not like he could say, well, I would like to be back home in Cali. All right, it's not like he had a choice in that situation. All right, the Mets were going to trade him because they wanted Ruff, not because JD said, I'd like to go to California. If the Mets wanted somebody from Kansas City, he would have went to Kansas City. And that's about it. So, again, JD Davis, look, I was all for – look, I was a big fan of JD Davis, all right? But I'm not going to be naive to think that JD Davis had a good year. He was terrible when he got opportunities, just like Dominic Smith was terrible when he got opportunities. Right? Not saying that the trade was good, but JD Davis probably wouldn't be playing every day anyway with this Mets team. And he's playing well with the Giants, but he's playing every day. He wouldn't be playing third every day. He probably wouldn't even be DHing every day, considering the Mets do a platoon. JD Davis still can't hit right-handers. So I get it. But you can't say, oh, well, this guy and this guy and that guy. Well, if the Mets had Kelnick last year, who was terrible last year, maybe the Mets wouldn't have had as good a year, right? You could look at it that way as well, right? Dominic Smith hasn't hit a home run in like 2.5 years. Should we keep Dominic Smith? Like, you can look at it any which way. Like, not saying that every move was a good move, but you can't say, oh, well, look at this guy's doing now. But that doesn't mean he would have performed here, right? Sonny Gray, who is a really good pitcher, could not pitch with the Yankees, but is a very good pitcher for the Twins. Joey Gallo couldn't perform with the Yankees, hitting bombs against the Yankees, playing for the Twins. So it's not always, well, look what they could have done here. I do, Ian, I do. All right, here we go. Last licks for the Mets.
Nothing in danger of being shut out for the 4th time already this season, the first 24 games. Mason Thompson was already throwing 2 perfect innings, trying for a
And Lindor gets a base hit to start the rally. Yay!
They're retired in a row. The last 6 by Thompson. Lindor picks up the Mets' 5th hit of the night.
Oh, that was finally a nice swing by Lindor there.
Good balance there, ball down.
Mason Thompson's going for a 3-inning save. He's already had 1 3-inning outing this year. Let's try to bounce something here in the last of the ninth. Alonso's gone 0 for 3, and he gets a comeback.
And that might be a double play. Oh, and it is 2 outs.
With a lollipop throw to start it, 1-4-3 double play, and just like that, the Mets are down to their final out.
I've never seen someone throw a hand grenade like that. Well, you've seen him throw the first like that, but on a double play ball, usually the pitcher has some urgency. Thompson just kind of flicked it out there, where you get your second baseman killed.
Now with today's rules, I hear you, Karen. Here's Jeff McNeil. And he goes after a back foot slider, misses, nothing in 1. Jeff's 0 for 3 tonight.
Ground ball should end the game.
Garcia,
And the game is over. Nationals shut out the Mets 5-0. Mets come back home and put on no show for their fans, coming back home after a 10-game road trip. 3 losses in a row for our Metropolitans. Not a good offensive performance at all by the Mets. A little bit of defensive struggles that didn't really help the issue, but the Mets did not score anyway. 5-0 Nationals. Again, come back tomorrow, get the job done, try to take the next 2, win the series before the Braves series. That's what you got to do. Again, shitty performance by the Mets. But you know what? They ain't nothing good to say about this game at all, right? At all, right? 2 through 4, 7 through 9, 5 through 6, doesn't matter. Just 5 hits today, 14-10 on the year for the Mets. Tough game, 2 hours and 33 minutes. At least it was a quick loss. But Jose Budo didn't pitch really well, but the defense really didn't help behind him. Consuelo, have a good night. Yeah, exactly, Jay. You know, I mean, 5 runs are, you know, they didn't score anyway. So, unfortunately, offense is going to struggle, and that's exactly what happened. Got to come back tomorrow and the next day and get the job done, right? The Mets have been winning series. They've been finding a way to win series. Let's see if they can do it again, taking the next 2. Senga is on the mound tomorrow for the Mets against Mackenzie Gore. Yeah, exactly, Jay. Sweaty, don't be... Yeah, Marte is a little concerning, but I don't think Marte is healthy, to be honest with you. I don't think so. There's something wrong. Yeah, hopefully, Ian, hopefully. All right, guys, so the Mets lose 5-0. Not really much to say. Yacobonis came in, saved a couple of innings, but unfortunately for the Mets, couldn't get any runs there. But the defense also didn't help getting out of innings. That could have been a different ballgame, but the Mets didn't score. So if it was 2-0, 5-0, the Mets didn't score any runs. You know, if the Mets got 3 runs and they lost 5-3, the defense would have been a real big topic. But you lose, right? All right, Jay, have a good night. All right, guys, so the Mets lose 5-0. Let's see if they can take the next 2 against the Nationals tomorrow. Senga, Gore on the mound for both teams. I'll be with you tomorrow night, 6:45, Mets pregame, right into the Mets game. So I'll see everybody tomorrow night, see if the Mets get back on track at home. And we shall see. Bring the kids up, Garcia, they're up. Alvarez and Beatty, I don't see the Mets doing anything with them, right? Not happening right now. I don't want to hear about the kids. Kids are getting opportunities. They're not doing the job. Sorry, not happening. With that said, everybody have a great night. Mets lose 5-0. See you tomorrow night. Let's go Mets. Let's see if they can win the series. Take game 2 tomorrow and go into game 3 to win the series. Let's go Mets. Have a good night. See you tomorrow night, guys.